I'm not touching that line because I have no idea what KU will look like against Duke without Darren Peterson, and I have no idea the mindset that Duke will have when they find out officially that Darren Peterson is not playing. If there's we're good, we're not going up against the number 1 pick in the draft anymore. We're fine. So I wasn't going to touch it. If you did have KU plus the points, that sucks. That's why, man, I very, very rarely play college basketball when it comes to these things because those free throws at the end of the game, you just never know which way it's going to go. But KU ends up losing by 12. And let's start off with just generally what we saw from the game. And I kind of feel like Bill Self after this one. Like, I don't think I was incredibly disappointed in what I saw from KU last night, obviously knowing Darren Peterson is not there. And yes, there are things that KU can improve on, but it's, the 5th game of the season. Of course, there are things that every single team across America can improve on. There's things that Duke can improve on. John Shire's probably talking about the things that they need to get better at, right? But without Darren Peterson, who was going to step up in place of him? And I'll tell you what, man, Flory, we talked about yesterday, this was the biggest and most on his plate as a KU player because there was no Hunter to lean on, KJ, DeJuan, defer to others, Flory sort of playing off those particular guys. This was you've got to step up and play well against another top 5 pick in the draft in Boozer. And right out of the gates, like, he's sort of stuck and then dunks it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe it's, the aggressive Flory tonight. And it was sometimes overly aggressive, but aggressive Flory, Trey White playing the way that he did, and Melvin Council. We've talked about he's faster than DeJuan. Turning the corner, getting downhill. When he attacks, he's so good, but he's got to start hitting threes, and he did. I told you, I said he hit a 3. Did he not hit a 3?
He hit 1 and then thought that his light was as green as Steph Curry's.
Well, yes, I get that, but I'm talking about big picture here. I'm not talking about specifically.
If I were, and this was actually a conversation I wanted to have with, obviously with Jack and with the Kansas alums, because but seriously, with Council, I found it as such a mixed bag of what he provides, and I think there's more good than bad, but at times he plays a little out of control. Mm-hmm. I think that his athleticism and speed is such an absolute weapon, but if I were a KU fan, I would never want to see him shoot a shot outside of the paint.
Oh, well, he's going to have to.
He can't shoot. He can't.
He just made one last night.
They are bricks. They are bricks. Even those pull-ups early in the game, they hardly hit rim. They were about to break the backboard. He should get downhill every time because he can.
Right, okay, until teams start saying, well, I'm going to play 5 feet off of you because I know, one, you're not going to shoot it. If you don't shoot it, they're going to make sure that you
And again, normally you'll have Darren Peterson, which will, again, open up the floor.
Yeah. And so he'll be the one with the primary,
But Bryson Tiller has to hit those threes. That's part of his game. Trey White was outstanding in this. With Cole Rosario going 0 of 5 from 3 doesn't help. Just for me, I know we can laugh and say all we want about, but like Melvin Council finally hit a 3. If he's wide open, then okay. But some of those shots he's taking are not open. He's dribbling into a guy. That's not going to be Melvin Council's game.
Well, I also think last night KU had to have somebody step up and be aggressive. Like, they couldn't be passive.
Trey White was, though.
Right. But Trey White didn't score 80 points, did he? Last time I checked, did Trey White score 55 freaking points?
No, but my point was...
Okay, my point is somebody has to step up outside of Darren Peterson. Flo did. Trey White did. But those guys combined for 36 points.
Sure.
They needed 80-something to be able to... 80 points to beat Duke. So somebody else had to step up. Rosario wasn't making shots. So it's on Melvin Council, who's a primary ball handler, to be aggressive. And to your point, maybe overly aggressive in taking shots, sometimes early in the possession.
Correct.
And I get that, but I would rather it be that in trying to feel out his role with KU than Wisconsin, KU transfer. Store last year that was just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to stand here. So I would rather say, whoa, than go, And I feel like that's what maybe we disagree on that with Melvin Council this early in the season. I'd rather pull back the reins a little bit, Sterling, rather than Store. Will you do something, please? Will you find a way to fit in here?
Loved him getting downhill, and that was like where I thought good and bad of Council was him getting downhill and breaking double teams and splitting that and making moves around. I mean, I love the aggressiveness getting downhill. It was just some of those jump shots where I was left going, don't take that. I know you want to be aggressive, but you can't shoot, so give the ball to Trey White, who's shooting very, very well. I would rather have Trey White, again, from the Kansas side of things, I'd rather have Trey White take a contested jumper than have Melvin Council dribble into a contested long two like Russell Westbrook.
And maybe this is the, Jack, where without Darren Peterson, Melvin Council feels like I do have to shoot more, whereas with Darren Peterson, some of those jump shots would be in Peterson's hands, and he'd be the one taking those shots. I just think last night and overall, Jack, the team's trying to feel their way through and playing for Bill Self and finding their spot. And there was such a disappointment with Store of just looked like he was just out there standing around, just waiting for let's get the ball to Store and get out of the way. No, you got to go and find your game. And he never did, except for a game here or there. And Melvin had to step up. Trey White had to step up. Flo had to step up. Those guys did. It just wasn't enough against Duke because you needed Darren Peterson. That's what's going to make KU a team that can make a run through the tournament if they do, or make a Final Four, is, Peterson being out there. But I wasn't overly disappointed with what I saw. And I was actually, the jump shots aside, again, the joke, he did make a three. I said yesterday he's going to make a three this year, Jack, and he did. That just also, he made the three, and it turned off the scoring for KU somehow in the last 5 minutes. Make a three and only score 2 more points the rest of the way.
Yeah, it was a huge 3-2 because Shire had just gone to a 2-3 zone, and it was the right move at the time because KU wasn't hitting any outside shots, and that, to me, that would be their downfall if it doesn't improve. Now, you've got the ceiling for Cole Rosario, Bryson Tiller, guys that can shoot it from deep, Jaden Dawson as well, who they brought in to shoot it from deep. What I would say is this, because I feel you have some similarities with Melvin Council and DeJuan Harris, not so much of their style of play, but how teams will eventually guard him. So Melvin Council in the zone, they went to a zone because Melvin Council was handling the ball, and it was we're up by 5 or up by 6 or whatever it was. If you're open, we're going to dare you to shoot it there. And I think he shot 35, 36% last year at St. Bonaventure.
Melvin Council, I think it was 30%.
30%.
In conference play, it was 22%.
Yeah, so he is somebody they're going to want to shoot. But he goes back to that point at DeJuan Harris of when he was left wide open. It's no, you do have to shoot it unless there is somebody that you can get the ball to. And in most cases, it's going to be Darren Peterson. Last night, you saw in a couple of those final possessions where he was firing, I saw that Trey White looked gassed. They were doubling down on Flory, who was also in foul trouble. But you can't leave last night's game overly discouraged because that's one of the most talented teams you'll play. Now, is that the best version of Duke? No, they'll probably be their best version in March, as they usually are. But the way they defended, I thought in the first 20 minutes of that game, or maybe more so 15 because they didn't play well in the final 5, first 15 minutes of that game, they played it exactly how they wanted to. They muddied up the game. They were physical. They were great on the defensive end. I think what's so exciting about this Kansas team compared to last year's group, they've got a center that can guard point guards, that will go out beyond the three-point line. And last year, I mean, that type of game, if you took away, let's say, Zeke Mayo in a game like that last year, I think KU probably gives up 95 to 100 points on that Duke team because they were so poor defensively. They weren't quick. They weren't physical. This team has a lot of slashers, but the glaring omission last night was, I thought, exactly when they cut it to 3 on the Melvin Council 3. The final 4 minutes of that game, every single possession would start with Darren Peterson bringing the ball up and them trying to scheme around him, whereas last night it was you were fortunate to be within 3, but you just couldn't get that big stop. And the big problem to me was foul trouble. You had Tiller and Badunga. You had to play Mbia in the final 3 minutes of the half. You can't do that against Boozer, and that's going to be the key for Badunga. If he can play 30 minutes a game, which I believe endurance-wise he can, he's going to average close to 18 and 10 in my opinion, and be a good defensive presence. But if he's in foul trouble, I'm not sure you can start Bryson Tiller because you don't want your 2 bigs on the floor at the same time if they're constantly hacking in the first half, and him picking up the quick 2 with 8 minutes to go. That really burned KU because that's when Duke went on their 21-7 run.
Yeah.
Only 8 turnovers, which was great considering you didn't have Darren Peterson, one of your other big ball handlers, right? I think that's a positive for Kansas. Only 8 turnovers. You're right with the defense, especially early in that game. That first half, I thought, or the first 16 minutes, I thought Kansas played outstanding basketball. When it does come to foul trouble, you're right. Flory, I thought, had one called against him that was a little weak. Bryson did too. That's college basketball, and that's one of my big pet peeves with college basketball. If you are an offensive player, and Melvin Council, actually, this was a benefit for him, and he's smart to do it, you run into the defender. Just run into him and throw it up. Automatically, it's a defensive foul. No matter if the defender is straight up and down, no matter if he's in the right spot. But if you're the defender and you fall, no matter if you have good position or not, it's an offensive foul. That has to get figured out in college basketball.
Because they've done a better job of calling more blocking fouls than
charges on those. But still,
Yeah.
We saw Duke have this happen. We saw Kansas have this happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you run into the player as an offensive player and they just automatically call a defensive foul, that becomes unwatchable. Not every single play needs to be a ref involvement. And that was part of my frustration with the game that I thought was pretty darn good was, and again, I'm not saying the refs were horrible in this one, but inserting yourself in those situations, Melvin Council actually took advantage of it at times. I think Trey White took advantage of it at times as well. We saw Duke, but that's why I do think Badunga and Bryson at times got into foul trouble was some of those I'm sitting here going, that is not a defensive foul call. That is the offensive player running into them.
His 4th foul, he's got to get out of the way, though.
Correct.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's just you sort of half commit and then stop because I got 4 fouls, and then it's like, what a waste.
Yeah.
What a wasted foul there. But I watched last night, and I'm like, Duke did to KU what KU has done to so many teams that can ever remember with KU, with Roy Williams and Bill Self. Badunga got in foul trouble in the last 6 minutes and 40 seconds of the first half. KU was up 6. That's when Duke went on a 21-7 run. And then with 5 minutes to go, Melvin Council hits the 3 to pull within 67-64. Duke goes on an 11-2 run those last 5 minutes. That is 11 minutes of basketball. Duke was plus 23 at the last 6 minutes of the first half and last 5 minutes of the second half. The other 29 minutes of basketball, KU was plus 11. That's like what KU does to teams, right? They go on this, it's like, oh, if you can get to half with like a 4 or 5 point lead over KU, that's nice. How are we down 8? Like, what the hell happened here? And then late in the game, just making plays and making plays. And that's why I'm not overly discouraged is Flory leaves the game with foul trouble. Obviously, you'd like that to get better. But that's when the big run happens. If Darren Peterson was there, okay, you could probably withstand some of that. The 21 is an issue, but also the last 6 minutes and 40 seconds of the game, the 7 is also an issue in the 21-7 run. Be different if it was 21-14 run, then, or 21-15, then you're tied at half, as opposed to being down, 8 at half like you were. And then at the end of the game, like you said, 67-64, Council hits the 3 to pull within 3. There weren't good possessions, really, the rest of the way. And the only points they got were the 2 free throws from Trey White with 40 seconds to go to pull within, 8 at that point. Like, there weren't good possessions. They weren't scoring. And you would think Darren Peterson would find a way to get a bucket here or there to continue to go back and forth. But you talk about 11 minutes of basketball that Duke just bum-rushed KU and blitzed them, and they were plus 23. And the other 29 minutes of basketball, KU was plus 11. Like, they held their own in that game. And I don't come away from that one overly even really at all discouraged, which is a different feeling around Kansas when they lose by 12 to Duke, and you go, not too bad. It is not a moral victory for KU, but to me, it's you see the pieces that are there that can be good for a team. And maybe this year, Jack, as opposed to maybe last year or the year before, like when he had DeJuan and KJ and Hunter that he could rely on, and then Storrs trying to figure it out, and Alabama shooter. Why are these guys all of a sudden escaping my mind here?
Rylan Griffin.
Yes, thank you, Griffin. And those guys trying to figure out their spot on the team. Like Storr early on, defensive mistake, get out.
Yeah.
Okay, bad shot, get out. We'll put somebody else in that I trust. I wonder if this year, Jack, Bill Self doesn't have a choice. There's nobody he can go to and say, Melvin, bad shot, get out. I'm going to go put in somebody I trust. Oh, shoot. You know what, Jacques Vaughn, get in. I trust you. Trey White, bad turnover, get out. Nope, stay in. Bryson, what are you doing with that foul? Okay, no, stay in. Like it seems like a feeling of like he's going to be forced that these guys are going to figure it out on the floor because he can't just say, you know what, I'm going to put somebody in that I trust. I can't. You're getting beat defensively. You can't play for me if you're getting beat defensively. I'm putting somebody else in. Store, get on the bench. No, I don't really have anybody else there that I quote unquote trust that's going to go in and do the things that I want and maybe not at the end of the year be better for it. But right now we're going to be better, and that's what matters to me because, damn it, I'm sick and tired of you guys getting beat back door, and you're not going to play if you don't figure that out. He doesn't really have a choice this year, which, good or bad, it didn't necessarily work last year for them at the end of the season, that at least a different tact, Jack, that maybe February and March, the guys that all can be difference makers have become difference makers because they've been on the floor, and Bill Self really didn't have a choice to yank him out of the game when they weren't playing well, except for Saturday when Wilder gets in there in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, no, that game was definitely the old Bill Self of if you're not playing the defense I want, you're not rebounding, we're putting in a walk-on. But I also feel it's the way that he's recruited this team. So, you're not going to put lipstick on a pig because I do think there were many areas in this game Kansas didn't play well, and you still have to hold yourself like Kansas, right? You're not going to champion a 12-point loss, even if your best player is out. But the good part about it, which is why I think going in the next week with the Players Era Tournament, didn't sound like Darren Peterson's going to play. I believe he said we're hopeful, but I'm not banking on it.
Not counting on it, I think, or banking on it, something like that. Yeah.
I'm getting this sense that he understands fully that Darren Peterson has to be on this team for them to get the best version of themselves, but also he needs to find out who actually can be another player with this group before conference play, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought last night was a very good test, and next week when you play 3 games in 3 days, that will be another great test. And the way he recruited this team, you do have to view them differently. It's not last year where, man, they were about 9 guys deep that you could go, Coit off the bench. Griffin didn't even start for a while. Storr didn't start for a while. You had your experienced guys. But I thought that even though there was an abundance of players, you either had A, guys that if they were missing shots didn't want to defend or rebound, or B, didn't have the endurance. Melvin Council played every minute of the second half and is going to be a 35-ish minute a game guy. Trey White, kind of the same thing. If Padunga can stay out of foul trouble, probably in that 28 to 32-minute range. And you want to have the depth, but I actually think building this team that can wear you down, they have a bunch of endurance, they like to get up and down and run, they can defend, they're going to be uncomfortable to play against, where I feel the last 2 years, really ever since Kevin McCullough left, which would have been 2 years ago, that team, when he wasn't on the floor, they were easy to play against. They were not good defensively. They didn't jump any passing lanes. They didn't double down in the post. They just were slow, more unathletic. And I think this team is incredibly athletic. They can defend, and they're going to want to win a lot of the games 72 to 65, right? They're not going to want to win a lot of games 95 to 90, even though it's fun to watch when everybody's scoring. I feel this is a team that wants to slash toward the goal. They want to out-rebound you. They want to out-physical you because that's what the good Bill Self teams have done. But at the same time, there will be those limitations where if Darren Peterson's not out there, and even on a game where Darren Peterson's not playing well, you're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Houston because they're also an incredibly physical team, and they're going to be able to outrun you from time to time. But it's funny, and I'll end my point with this. I was watching Coach Carter the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And, fantastic movie. And it was early on in the movie, and he basically says something along the lines, well, we're not going to put an offense yet because we're going to run. Because I can't teach you the level of basketball that I want to until you're in shape to do so. It's kind of what this Kansas team feels like, at least without Darren Peterson. It's like, we don't really have an offense, just run. Just try to go down, get in fast break, get some steals, get out in passing lanes, and that's how we're going to create offense. And then when Peterson comes back, that's when you can get into that smooth flowing Kansas offense. But until then, I want to see them just out physical and outrun teams that might be better than that.
I liked in Coach Carter when he took credit for any bucket. I did that. I drew up that play. That's me. That was pretty good. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. I want to get into a few things around the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, a huge game coming up on Sunday, but a couple of plays in the game, and in fact, literally from start to finish, some things in the game that took place on two particular plays that after the show was over yesterday, Mitchell Schwartz on Twitter had a great breakdown, but then also that last play from scrimmage for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get into those things coming up next.
Kansas may have lost, but they've been winning, and Missouri is about to join that winning as well. I'm not talking about college sports. I'm talking about betting because Missouri...
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. He's got the pregame coming up on Sunday and also postgame for Sunday's matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. And let me tell you, if you want the Chiefs offense to get rolling again, just put Lou Anarumo on the other side of the field. That'll be fine. That'll be good. No issues there, right?
Speaking of pregame, Jack, we have a whole bunch of neutrals and cutwaters here if you want a pregame.
I can start.
If you want a postgame, you can have these too, depending on how the game goes.
God, I hope those are celebratory drinks postgame.
We have neutrals and cutwaters. My office is packed full. So.
I might need something stronger.
Because if those are...
These are 12.5% in a can.
Yeah.
You'll get...
a couple of those and you're good.
You'll feel good.
Yeah. Because if those are postgame drinking through the sorrows, that would also be toasting to the season being over. Maybe not a toast. I don't even know what that would be. Hey, here's to the season. That would be the pouring one out for your lost season.
Jack has to Uber home after the postgame show. He's just out here crushing them.
I think. Well, let me tell you another thing.
It could be a good show, Jack.
I'll be damned.
Take over for me, Monty.
Because I'm in the bag. So I want to talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs and this game coming up on Sunday, and obviously a massive, massive game as we've talked about. They're back to 3.5-point favorites. It went from 3.5, then yesterday it was 3. Now it's back to 3.5, and I don't know, man. There's little to no confidence that I have for Sunday's game. I was just extremely confident about the Chiefs and the Broncos. Like, going into that game, I'm like, look, they're coming off a bye. This is the AFC West on the line. They're going to come out and play awesome, awesome football. And they did not. 10 penalties, mistakes, coverage mistakes, inability to pressure the quarterback, game plans that looked pretty rough, play calling that looked pretty rough, 15's decision-making at times was pretty rough, 4 pre-snap penalties in the game. One of them may have cost you the control of the game, which would have been first and goal at the 2-yard line, tied at 6, if it wasn't for Jawan Taylor illegal formation, which the Chiefs then threw an interception. 2 plays later after that, or 3 plays later, because that was first down, would have been first and goal. Then it was first, second, and then they threw the interception on 3rd down. Like those things, false start in the second to last drive. You're up 19-16. First play, 1st and 10, false start by Noah Gray. Like those can't happen when you're coming off a bye. You should be playing clean football coming off a bye. But watching, yesterday, if you haven't seen it, I'd say go check it out. I was perusing the Twitterverse while listening to the program after the show yesterday while putting up the Christmas tree and everything. And Mitchell Schwartz had an awesome breakdown of the first play of the game. And he looked at, it was an RPO, and it was a pass to Rashee Rice. They picked up 11 yards. Boom, let's go. Drive starter, momentum, let's get rolling here. But it was an RPO. And Mitchell Schwartz broke it down. It was like 4-minute video and talked about what the defense was doing. They had 2 down linemen that were lined up over Trey Smith and Kingsley. So just nobody anywhere near, Creed Humphrey or the middle. And then you had 2 guys standing up, Cooper against Jawan Taylor and Benito against Josh Simmons. And you had 2 linebackers that were lined up 7 yards deep. Not 4, 7 yards deep on an RPO. And Mahomes takes the snap. Kareem comes to his right. Rashee Rice was in the backfield and then went in motion to his left, throws it out to Rashee Rice. 2 guys out there, 2 blockers, slips through, picks up 11 yards, first down. Awesome, awesome play. What Mitchell Schwartz is breaking down is on the right side when Mahomes didn't hand it off, when he took the snap, the middle linebacker on an RPO immediately turned his hips and backpedaled. There wasn't an iota in that guy's mind that Mahomes was going to hand it to Kareem Hunt. He immediately backpedaled away from the line of scrimmage. Trey Smith, great block on the defensive interior player, turning him to Trey Smith's right. Jawan Taylor's blocking Cooper. Kingsley's blocking the other down lineman. Creed then hits the down lineman's left shoulder, pushing him more towards Kingsley, so then Creed can now scrape to the second level, to the linebacker, by the way, that has turned his hips and moving back. And Josh Simmons is all alone because Benito drops and everybody's flowing to the left. Even flowing to the left, they still got 11 yards. But the whole right side of the field is just this parting of the Bronco Sea that's there. And if you hand it off to Kareem Hunt, and he's saying, look, this could have been a big game. This could have been a big running play. Could have been 15 yards, 20 yards. I would also say Cooper got off the block from Jawan Taylor pretty quickly, so maybe Cooper makes the tackle. But it ain't at the line of scrimmage. It's down the field. And that linebacker that's starting to backpedal immediately plants, and he doesn't flow to his right, to the offensive left side to go after Rashee Rice. He plants and comes up. Creed should be there to meet him, but we're going to assume that that guy doesn't, at least affect in some way to slow Kareem Hunt down. But I would say at minimum, that's a 7 or 8 yard gain on first down. Now, if you take it in a vacuum, and I'll ask your guys' opinion on this because this would seem contrary to conventional wisdom. But in a vacuum, if you gave a choice on first down, you gain 11 yards or 7 yards, which would you choose? Everybody across the board would choose the 11 yards. Duh. First down, boom, you pick up another first down. That's easy. Second down and 3, you might get stopped the next couple of plays, and now you're punting. So 11 yards, let's roll. But I would say for this Chiefs team, contrary to what conventional wisdom would be, because seeing at the snap the defense move expecting pass on RPO, which Andre on Twitter said the Chiefs don't have RPOs, they have PPOs, pass option, which I loved. And I would make an argument that the 7 yard gain would have been more beneficial than the 11 yard gain. And that is, you hand it off, the next time you're in that particular formation, that linebacker doesn't drop immediately on the snap. You start to make them respect it a little bit more, which then in turn can open things up later on. It's why Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have talked about taking shots deep early in the game. Well, we didn't complete it, but it still had an effect. Okay, well, this 10-yard completion or an incomplete pass, which is better? They've argued the incomplete pass is better. They've given themselves a chance to go deep. It's an incomplete, but it also showed the defense, we're going to do this. So you have to respect it, as opposed to just the 10-yard pass and, hey, you're kind of moving, but that defense is also continuing to play up because they don't think you're going to throw it deep. They have argued and said that play, even taking a shot that's incomplete, is beneficial for the whole game. And I would argue just simply giving the ball to Kareem Hunt that can gain 7 or 8 yards when there's nobody in the middle. And the most telling thing was Mitchell Schwartz talking about at the snap, the linebacker's hips turns and he's dropping back. 7 yards might have been more beneficial for the entire game rather than the 11-yard gain. And Mitchell Schwartz even said, look, this running lane is open. He goes, but this is a successful play. In no way, shape, or form are you saying Patrick Mahomes made a mistake. Sure. He said this is a successful play. They had leverage on the outside, even schemed up the way the defense played. There were 2 blockers to block 2 guys, and he picks up 11 yards. There is no world that this is a bad play or a bad decision by Patrick Mahomes. He's pointing out this is what defenses are doing against RPOs, and they will continue to do it until you prove you are willing to hand the ball off.
Which is why they just need to consistently do it. Whether it's 7 or 11, I get the point of you're trying to make, and to an extent the baseball world has been saying this for a while now. When you have bases loaded, sometimes the home run might not be the best thing, just consistently hitting doubles and singles and putting pressure.
I would say bases loaded, the home run.
Well, the home run, but you know what I'm saying? As far as putting pressure on the opposing pitcher, make them keep having to pitch out of the stretch versus the windup. Don't let them get reset. What you're trying to basically say is don't let the defense get reset. I get that thought process.
Don't let them get comfortable in continuing to say we're playing the pass, because they're not going to hand off. And if we play the pass, we're going to be better for it because we're going to be in better position to play the pass, and they're not going to force us to change our defense.
And this is why I thought what you said yesterday with the numbers was so enlightening, where, under center on first down, they ran for 6.4 yards a carry. They passed for 4.9.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why that's still so drastic, because the defense, even when the Chiefs running for 6.4 yards per carry out of, under center, they just don't believe they're going to stick with it.
Yep.
They say, okay, sure, nice. You did that every once. You do that 3 times a game.
Exactly.
Congratulations. You're not going to do it 12. And so we're not going to even play for it. And the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, whether it's Patrick checking out of this, whoever's doing it, it's happening to where defenses are basically just, they don't believe you. And they're right.
Yeah.
So you have to keep doing it. I know we always go back to the one time Andy Reid ran the football consistently, the Buffalo game with Clyde. I want to see that one time. One time. Maybe it's against the Colts. Zaire Franklin's very good linebacker, kind of Nick Bolton-esque as far as getting downhill. Run the ball.
Yeah.
Make them stop you. Denver's best part of their game is stopping the run for 3.6 yards a carry.
And you toasted them.
Yeah. And you still said, "No, we're good."
We're good. And you didn't do it against Buffalo either. That sucks against the run. And then Mike McDaniel was like, hey, this Buffalo Bills team sucks against the run. Let's run it down their throats and win.
They've just become so predictable in every single way. And even those, misdirection play calls where you get Rashard Smith on a wheel route or you scheme up something where it looks pretty, teams are starting to settle in on that and know that that's what's coming on a 3rd and short, right? Because you're not going to run the football. And I'm not sure really who the blame falls at the feet of when it comes to the offseason. Like, is it on Brett Veach for not bringing in an explosive running back that you have to, give a little bit of a thought to, right? If you're a defense and you're going up against Kareem Hunt, he's very good in short yardage. But even if you left him a wide open middle of the line, he's not getting 50 yards out of it. He's probably getting 10.
Yeah, even that wide open lane that Mitchell Schwartz was talking about, I'm saying let's go with 7 because Jonathan Cooper's getting
somebody's catching up to him.
Yes.
There is, and even with Isaiah Pacheco, he's just not that running back that's, once he finds the hole, he's gone, right? Or he can get 60 yards out of it. And so teams recognize that. They are going to lock down on the pass, the RPO, the screen, knowing that they're not going to run the football. So again, back to the point of the blame, is it on Brett Veach for not having at least one explosive running back you have to worry about? Is it on the Chiefs saying, or Andy Reid and Matt Nagy of, hey, look, you have a running back still that's averaging somewhere between 4 and 5 yards a carry every single game, and you're not giving him the football? Or who really is it? Because to me, we've now seen the last 2 weeks against Denver and Buffalo, there's not been this effort to run the football, and it's put more stress on Patrick Mahomes. And we've seen 2 inefficient games. Because when a good defense is able just to lock in on one aspect of a team's offense, you're not going to see that effortless movement where it's just chunk yardage after chunk yardage after chunk yardage. And if they're waiting till the postseason, I guess, but they're not in a position anymore where they can say that. They have to get in the postseason first, and it has to start now on Sunday. As we've already talked about, you lose this game, what confidence would you have going into Thanksgiving at 5-6 that, this will be the week they actually run the football. This will be the week they don't make the dumb turnover. This will be the week the special teams doesn't have a blunder. I've seen 10 games worth of this team, and I just feel that who this team is, it's who they are. They're not going to commit to the run. They're not going to have somebody in that backfield step up. Therefore, we're going to see more offensive games like this against good defenses.
Yeah, and I've said this since the second half of the Cincinnati Bengals game that, from time to time, just take it out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes. Because that second half of the Cincinnati Bengals game, the Chiefs, the entire game, were running at will against him. Jerick McKinnon was awesome in that game. The problem is he had 70 yards on 12 carries. The problem is he got the ball given to him 4 times in the second half. They weren't down by 20. They were leading. And he carried the ball 4 times in the second half and overtime combined because there were a lot of RPOs. And even the interception, was it B.J. Hill that intercepted Patrick Mahomes there in that third or fourth quarter, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, whenever it was? That was an RPO because the offensive line was moving down the field and there was nobody there. Like Jerick McKinnon is running for 15 or 20 yards. So take it out of his hands when you feel like the decision-making isn't happening there. But to that point, and I agree with Mitchell Schwartz on this, you can't say, well, that was a bad decision by Patrick Mahomes because they gained 11 yards on it. Okay, my point is battle versus war. Mahomes on one end will say, we've got to throw it deep to make them respect it, but then won't hand the ball off to make them respect it. Let's, if you can balance that out, you can become better. And now they have to play a little bit closer to respect the run. Well, now that deep shot may come a little bit easier.
If only Pantera's song was called Run instead of Walk, then maybe the Chiefs would do it. 3 people got that reference. But the whole song, spect, walk. But see, if it was respect, run, maybe the Chiefs would have done it.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying, Pantera, they could have done it.
Well, like Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to go ahead and pass on that joke. Well, I'll tell you what, man, do not pass on what's going on in the NBA right now. We're only a few weeks in, and the NBA season is already wild. Stats are going off. Stars are going off. Rookies making noise. Action does not stop, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is where you can get in on all of it. And don't forget the Emirates NBA Cup rolling along as well. Big moment. So we talked about that first play from the Chiefs that Mitchell Schwartz broke down. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But when we talk about like from the beginning to the end, the last series I have discussed as well, when it was tied 19-19 and Patrick Mahomes had the short pass to Kelsey, we talked about this, that Hollywood Brown was open down the field, and that was unfortunate. 2nd down and 10, Travis Kelsey was open when Mahomes was rolling to his right. He threw it late, and then Kelsey almost had that crazy toe tap catch. But I do think the second the ball was secured in his hands, it's like an inch off the ground is that left foot. It was so close to being completed. It wasn't. But the next play is probably the one that creates more frustration than anything. Because the Denver Broncos and that defense, blitzing from different ways. I mean, they blitz one of the highest percentages in the league. And what happened on that play? They blitzed McMillan. Kareem Hunt went to the inside thinking that the blitzer was not going to be picked up by Creed, but the protection had it perfectly that Creed had the blitzer. Everybody else was accounted for except for the cornerback blitzing, and Kareem Hunt would have that guy, which is why when Mahomes got sacked, Kareem Hunt was hitting his head because he knew that was my guy. He went to the middle, nobody there to block, turned around, Mahomes was getting sacked by a cornerback, and Kareem was like, I think he's saying, my bad. But here's the issue with that. The Chiefs got to the line of scrimmage with 10 seconds left on the play clock. Meaning with 6 seconds, Mahomes is pointing things out, and then he starts clapping to Creed Humphrey. Well, while he's doing that, the cornerback is sliding down. You think if Mahomes had a little bit more time, he could survey and see that the cornerback's sliding down, and Kareem Hunt can see that? Why in the hell did the play get in late on 3rd and 10? That's Andy Reid. That's not, bad decision by Mahomes. They got to, Kareem Hunt went the wrong way. I don't know. Maybe if you gave him 5 more seconds, that little bit of McMillan sliding down, Mahomes can point it out. Kareem slides to his left, because what happened on that play is going to be even more frustrating because Kelsey's cutting across the field. He's covered. Xavier Worthy is above the linebacker running it over. The single high safety bites on Xavier Worthy running the over, leaving Tyquan Thornton one-on-one running a post, the defender 5 yards behind him. If Mahomes just throws it down the field, he and Tyquan hook up. If Kareem gets the block, it might have been a touchdown. Could have been an incomplete pass too. I don't know. But it probably wouldn't have been a sack. That play was schemed perfectly to get a deep shot. They blitzed. You got your deep guy on a cornerback, and he is one. With nothing but, it's a post pattern. He's on the left hash. Mahomes could throw it anywhere to the right side. But he's trying to clap his hands to get Creed Humphrey to snap the ball because they got the play in late. Why?
It's why off of the bye that was so frustrating.
Yes. Cynthia Freeland next.
Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock later this hour. We'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. We will hear from whoever will be at the podium today for the Chiefs about 11:45. Right now, let's talk with our NFL Network analytics expert. It is Cynthia Freeland joining us here in the zone. Cynthia, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How's it going over there?
It is going fine, at least from my perspective in terms of life. From the Chiefs' perspective, not going fine. Pretty frustrating couple of 3 weeks for the Chiefs. 2 games in 3 weeks that were less than stellar, lackluster, and pretty sloppy, quite frankly. And coming off a bye that was really surprising with the 10 penalties, 4 of those pre-snap penalties, the turnover, defensively not getting a turnover, not getting stops when you needed it, not getting points when you needed it. So other than that, Cynthia, fantastic.
Other than that, how's the movie?
Yes, that's exactly right.
How was the play,
yes,
Lincoln?
That's right. So what happened from your perspective? What did you see there in Denver, and how much of the story should be coming out of that game, the Chiefs and what's wrong with them versus Denver and what they're doing right?
Well, the one thing that I thought Denver really did right was figure out their halftime adjustments. So if you look at the blitz rate prior to, the first quarter prior to halftime and then after halftime, that's where Vance Joseph had a jump on. Like oftentimes coaches you'll see if something's not really working, they'll abandon it. Well, he switched the types of blitzes, how they were happening, and ultimately they proved to be very effective. So you look at kind of the sack situation in the first half versus second, those blitzes, and not every defense can do this because you have to be able to deliver pressure with just 4 up front. But, when you're getting Jaquan McMillan in there sacking Patrick Mahomes, you're creatively thinking for a solution to a Patrick Mahomes problem. That doesn't work for almost any other quarterback.
Yeah, because it was like 14% in the first half versus 50% blitz in the second half for the Denver Broncos. And it's interesting you talk about that McMillan sack because I just, in the last segment, Cynthia, I just got through talking about that specific play. And I think for me, the frustrating part of that play is, the Chiefs on 2nd down and 10, they had the scramble by Mahomes. He throws it to the right. Kelsey is on the sideline and almost has the amazing catch with his feet, but his left foot was up just a little bit there. And then 3rd down, pretty big play because you don't want to punt it back to the Broncos with 3 and change left and have them eat the rest of the clock and kick a field goal. And on 3rd and 10, Cynthia, Patrick Mahomes and the offense get up to the line of scrimmage with less than 10 seconds to go, and Mahomes is looking and he starts clapping at Creed Humphrey because, you got to get the snap off, and they brought McMillan on a blitz. And who's as good as anybody with getting to the line of scrimmage, assessing, calling out blitzes? How many 52's coming, 52's coming? You got the guys, cover zero. Because when he's clapping at Creed Humphrey, McMillan's starting to creep towards the line of scrimmage from the slot. He got a little bit more time. Maybe Mahomes reads it a little bit better, sees what's going on, and Kareem Hunt blocks on the outside instead of stepping up in the middle of the pocket where nobody was there for him to block and leaving the wide open McMillan. That is part of the frustrating aspect of this game, Cynthia, is 4 pre-snap penalties and what turned out to be your last play from scrimmage in the game. You get the play in late and Mahomes can't assess the defense and they have a free rusher.
So maybe the crowd could be attributed a little bit to that as well because it was very loud in there. I was seeing a bunch of things on Twitter where, the people were showing their water glasses, and on that specific play that you talked about, it looked like an earthquake, right? Like the the water was shaking in the glass.
Yeah. Can you just let me complain about Andy Reid and getting the play call in, Cynthia? Can you not credit Denver and the crowd for being loud on this one?
You're right. You're totally right. Everything you just said is totally right.
Should they I'm just trying to ask you, Cynthia, should Andy Reid be fired immediately? That's the question.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all I want to know. Cynthia Freeland is our guest. But I think crowd noise, all of that, I think is sort of symptomatic of what we saw, that they just they're not on the same page right now in these late game situations. And Travis Kelce talked about it in his podcast this morning, and he's like, look, we got the coaches, we got the players, we got the scheme and everything. We're just not clicking in these situations and these plays that, we watch it on film and we're like, well, this guy was open, but this one thing happened here and this one thing happened here, and everybody's got to look in the mirror and all of that stuff. They had drop passes in this game, and it's frustrating because, Cynthia, you see this team and they lose by 3 to the Eagles when they have an interception in the end zone and they could have gone up 4. They lose by 3 to the Broncos where you feel like there were so many yards left on the field in open receivers that either Mahomes didn't throw it, make the right decision, got sacked, whatever it might have been, or dropped passes. They lose by 3 to the Jags when, they have that crazy drive at the end and the stumble-rooski by Trevor Lawrence. And then they just didn't play well against the Bills. That's a loss. And the Chargers, I think, was a loss. Like the frustrating part is like they have these same core of players, but they just are playing sloppy football this year. And I don't know if that's from a complacency standpoint, if that's things happen in an NFL game that the ball bounces one way or another and a play here or there is different. I'm not sure what to, put my finger on that, or Chiefs fans putting their finger on and figuring out from that standpoint. But I think that's the frustration. It's like they may miss the playoffs, yet their losses are 3 points to the Eagles, 3 points to the Broncos, 3 points to the Jags, and losing to the Chargers, all playoff teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be shocked if they didn't end up in the playoffs, but the hard part is to figure out how to clean those things up in an amount of time where, everyone gives their best game to the Chiefs. Nobody's coming. I mean, Lou Anarumo, obviously we know him from the Bengals with this week against the Colts. They're giving their best game.
Yep.
There's no hey, let's just have an average week. No. This is double focus. Let's make sure everything we're doing in this is exactly what it needs to be. Here's the principles that we're going to follow, blah, 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 right? So you don't have the luxury of having a little bit of, brain fart moments or whatever you want to call it, or, not on the same page moments. And also, you have a situation where you're playing a first-place schedule always.
Yeah.
So you're in a really tough division. I mean, both the Broncos and the Chargers could easily be playoff teams. One of them at least. Obviously the Broncos will be, but will the Chargers? I don't know. They have some inexplicable losses as well. But they're good teams, and when good teams are giving you their best, and you're in a tough division, you're playing a first place schedule, the margin for error is so much smaller.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. All right, so part of the conversation this week has been the frustration with Andy Reid and the offense not handing the ball off enough. Against the Bills, there was a feeling that they did not do that enough, and against the Broncos, certainly a feeling that was the case as well, that they handed the ball off 13 times, almost 5 yards per carry, while dropping back 47 times in the game. Andy Reid said after the game that there were a lot of RPOs, and they were showing the pass look for the RPOs, which is interesting considering that they, didn't really bring anybody to the line of scrimmage, but whatever. The RPOs in general, what do you make of those? Is it still something that is viable in the NFL? 2019, it was like, oh my God, this RPO thing. They've got to run a pass option at the line of scrimmage. You can do some cool things here. But you know what? The wheel route has been figured out. And I feel like the defenses understand an RPO, but it's what the Chiefs do. They put that into Mahomes' hands, and he throws a lot. What's the view on the RPO, and is it better now in today's football just to say, let's go under center and tack smaller defenses now the way that they've adjusted? I mean,
there's always the ebb and flow between, RPOs work and then they don't because defenses figure it out, and then something else will work, and then there's just this ebb and flow between both. So you have to. The thing that it is it's all about how fast you can adjust in game, and that's where, to me, this year more than kind of any in recent memory, you're seeing the in-game adjustments absolutely need to just be on point. And there's for everyone, not just the Chiefs, but for everyone, the teams who are better at that are winning more games. And the Chiefs typically are very good at that. So you're just seeing some teams who have really, really figured it out versus others, because RPOs will work sometimes and then they will stop. I have a heart. That's not a very insightful thing to say, but it's not the RPO's fault itself. It's the defense's ability to recognize it, adjust, and adapt quickly, and they've just gotten better at doing it. Time on task will always do that.
What do you make of yesterday? Mitchell Schwartz had a really interesting breakdown video of the first play of the game where it was an RPO. They gained 11 yards to Rashee Rice, so that is not a negative play. It's not a bad play. It's not a bad decision. And he showed, at the snap, the linebacker that was already 7 yards off the line of scrimmage turns his hips and starts backpedaling on an RPO, not even thinking Holmes is going to hand it off. Everything is blocked perfectly on the right side. That a handoff to Kareem Hunt could have gone for a big play. And he's like, look, this is what's going on with the offense and the running game is, look, you've got this right here. The offensive line would be feeling good about themselves. Kareem Hunt's going to feel great about himself if he's running the ball and picking up a big gain. He goes, but it's not a bad decision. You gained 11 yards on the play.
Right.
You had the leverage on the outside, 2 guys to block 2 guys, and you pick up 11. So it's not a bad decision. What I would wonder, Cynthia, is Mahomes and the coaching staff talked in the offseason, and they've talked this year about we've got to challenge deep. We've got to throw the ball deep. Even if it's incomplete, it still shows the team we're willing to do that. So we'll take some deep shots early to try to let them know that we're not going to shy away from that, so don't play close to the line of scrimmage. I do wonder, Cynthia, would a 7-yard gain by Kareem Hunt there have been more beneficial than an 11-yard gain by Rashee Rice and a first down if you're saying, no, we're going to prove to you that we're going to hand this off, so you can't just simply backpedal as a linebacker and think it's going to be an RPO and look to your right or your left. Because they're saying, Cynthia, an incomplete pass sometimes could be more beneficial than a 10-yard gain because we're showing them the rest of the game. We're going to do this. I think there's probably a strong case to say the 7-yard or 8-yard handoff could have been more beneficial than an 11-yard gain to show the linebackers stop backpedaling at the snap because we're going to hand it off.
Yeah, I mean, look, like psychology of it, right? Like if I'm the linebacker, I'm backpedaling and I'm right, I feel good about myself, right? Mm-hmm. I'm feeling like, okay, whatever my film study entailed, whatever we were taught, whatever the principles are we were looking for, we snap, look from Patrick Mahomes, I was right. Yep. It's going to make it, like you want to be a little bit unpredictable, not super unpredictable so that, that becomes then predictable, right? but ultimately you want to be enough unpredictable that you're keeping a defense, keeping the offense, keeping the defense guessing because the offense is a little bit different each time. And when you start to get even little tiny tendencies, these teams will pick it up. They're taught to do that, right? That is the whole point. Mm-hmm. That is why Vance Joseph, has done such a great job, especially against these great defenses. They will pick up those little nuances and figure it out.
Do you the RPO versus under center? I looked at so far this year on first down, non-goal to go situation. And non-scrambles by Patrick Mahomes because I just wanted to see what the handoffs versus Mahomes dropping back and actually passing the ball. His scrambling actually makes the numbers worse for running, or it makes it worse for the point of going under center because he's got a scramble of like 11 and a scramble of like 10. So it's like you're taking 21 yards away on 2 carries. But even with that being the case, they have handed the ball off on first down and 10 under center 43 times this year, and they're picking up 6.4 yards per carry. They have dropped back to pass 13 times, and they have gone 7 of 13 for 64 yards, which is 4.9 yards per play. Now, tendencies and what you do best and these things, should the Chiefs be more willing to say, let's go under center? Let's just simply run the football right at them. We're gaining over 6 yards per play on this, that this should be something that's more a part of the game plan. Because it also takes something off the shoulders of RPOs that now Mahomes has to read it, make the decision. There's no decision when he just takes a snap and hands it off to Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco or whoever.
Well, in this game without DeForest Buckner, I do think that's a good idea. But in every game, no. Like against the Eagles, maybe not, right? Because there's a whole bunch of people named Jalen that are in the middle of that defense that are going to get in the way. So I think situationally, yes, absolutely. And especially, the loss of DeForest Buckner, to me, that's a massive gain in the sense of that the running play of the Chiefs or however you whatever kind of drop back you want, figure out tricky run plays because they're down a big man up front.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. I also think like tendencies too. I went and looked at under center on second down and any distance whatsoever on second down, and I thought it was interesting until the fourth quarter of the Raiders game. they had gone under center on second down 17 different times, and since then in the 3 games, they've done it only twice on second down, gone under center. So, I don't know, it's all game plan specific and things like that. It just seems odd that there would be different parts of the game that they would be more willing to do that and have success and then be like, no, we're not going to do that at all, especially against Denver when they were just daring you to run the ball. And they just didn't do it. So it's a big frustration certainly around here. And I also wonder, like, maybe if they traded for Breece Hall, maybe Mahomes is more willing to hand it off because he's like, look, I'm going to give it to Breece Hall. We got this new fun weapon. Who knows? But they don't have him, and they're going up against a stud running back in Jonathan Taylor this weekend, Cynthia. And so what I'm wondering from the picture around the Colts and the running game, how much is the running game and the success, the scheme and their execution of that, and how much is it the ability of Jonathan Taylor just being a premier running back in the NFL?
Little from column A, little from column B, because if you watch, especially Quentin Nelson, who will walk into the Hall of Fame one day, when he's running behind that left guard, holy smokes, it's just crazy. So they have some points in that O-line when they're healthy that it's just they're giving him all these yards before contact. And Jonathan Taylor's low center of gravity. He runs with very efficient moves. He's got a lot of body control. That's where he's able to then win. But getting up to full speed is his secret power. So when you're looking at that, it's like we talk about pulling guards and things that we don't see in every team doesn't execute them very well. I can think of several plays against the Falcons specifically where they were just throwing guys off there, the O-line was just like throwing the defensive players, multiple, down and back, right? And it's happened several times, just moving them off their mark so specifically that it's interesting their O-line helps them out a ton. But the answer is both.
Yeah. And it's been around here, the conversation, too, because it's like, okay, if you've got Breece Hall, it's not going to mean that Andy Reid's going to hand the ball off, but does he maximize those opportunities? And you just watch Jonathan Taylor run, and it's like, there are 4 or 5 different areas where he probably should have been tackled, and it's just not the case. And the one thing I would say about Spagnuolo's defense, Cynthia, that we've seen is they've been pretty good when it's you don't trust the quarterback, and the running game is what this team relies upon, defensively slowing that guy down.
Yep.
And I just wonder, I would guess, Cynthia, that the game plan this week for Spags would be if Daniel Jones beats us, tip the cap, but it ain't going to be Jonathan Taylor running for 200 yards.
I think Jonathan Taylor will have some yards, though. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where he had 34 yards and whatever.
Right.
No. They're going to give him some yards. They're just not going to let him get away with those giant explosive plays, right? They'll be like, fine, he got 4 yards on first down. Okay, that does keep them technically, ahead of the numbers. So, okay, Daniel Jones on third down, you're going to have to throw. Cool, fine by us. So, I don't think Jonathan Taylor's stat line's going to read some backup player's stat line, but I think it's going to be something where there's the 3 touchdown day. That is not what they do. It's all about don't miss your tackle. Give him some space to run, fine, but don't miss your tackle.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland, what is Daniel Jones? What kind of quarterback is he? And if the Chiefs say he has to beat us in this game and Jonathan Taylor will not be effective, and let's say Jonathan Taylor is just an average NFL running back, not the best player on the planet at times, but also not some scrub that shouldn't be in the NFL. Just an average running game on Sunday. What's Daniel Jones, and can he go and win a game the way that, quite frankly, Bo Nix was able to do by making some really good passes in timely fashion?
So Daniel Jones does something. Bo Nix. So the first thing you need to know is that Sean Payton, if you were to do a compilation of things he said in press conferences since the beginning of the Bo Nix era, if you will, he has really selected for not taking sacks. He will throw 800 screen passes in lieu of a sack. He has a belief Daniel Jones, that's not the strategy that they take with Shane Steichen and this offense. Daniel Jones he can be two different people in the same game. I mean, I saw it. You know, I saw it in Berlin. You know, it's an interesting when he has certain types of pressures and pressures that really obstruct his view. So in front, to the right, coming off of his left, like blind side, okay, but like also to the right as well. Tackle side blocks. He freaks out, and it's not the same guy as a guy who can execute some play action, who can see the blitz. When he has a bit of space, they give him those extended dropbacks so that he can have a little bit of space to see it. But when the anticipation is not there for him in the same way that it is for other guys. Not to say he can't. You know, I hate when people say he is either like the crappy version that we saw at the Giants or the great version that we've seen for some years. He's actually both, right? Like he has some flaws because they haven't been, you know, taught out of him in the league yet. But he's a good player, so he's kind of, you know, he's. God forbid he's kind of above average. My goodness, he can't be great or terrible. He has to be like a little above average this season. Great, you know. But ultimately, it's when he when he is forced to anticipate too much that he gets very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'd have to go back and look at the games, and I probably will at some point. But the last 2 weeks, they lost to the Steelers by 7. They beat Atlanta in overtime. He's got two touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's also been sacked 12 times. You know, before that it was 2, 4, 5, 6, 9 times in the first 8 games and 12 times in the last 2. I mean, Pittsburgh obviously has a really destructive front. Atlanta's pretty good, but that seems to be, you know, even more of an outlier than just, they went up against a really good front.
Right. It's not like, I mean, when you look at someone who's doing it, like Myles Garrett is getting inexplicable sacks because teams aren't throwing against him, and somehow the man is like crazy. So it's not that, right? It's more a lot of those sacks. You go back and watch it. This is where Sean Payton would have switched to the screen game because he believes, like I said, that taking sacks is the mortal sin. So when you're looking at some of the recent sacks, part of it is he holds on to the ball a beat too long because the anticipation of where he should throw the ball, he either doesn't see it or I don't know. I'm not in his head. I can't tell you, but it's just not happening. I can tell you that from the film on it. So ultimately, you're watching. It's not to say it's not on the O-line because of course they could give him a little bit more time always, but it's not one of those things where you're like, you know, to me, you know, it's like there's O-lines that are just sieves, and then there are O-lines that are doing the best they can, but then you hold on to it too long, and the improv stuff isn't there from the quarterback, and that's on the quarterback more.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland. Okay, so what do you think happens on Sunday noon in just as big of a game at Arrowhead that's a non-playoff game that I can remember in the Patrick Mahomes era? What do you think happens? I mean, look, this is going to be mean to say, but whatever. Did Daniel Jones getting his mouth, like, who doesn't look tough with a bloody mouth? Anyways, Daniel Jones is the answer. But I don't think he's able to handle the pressure in your face that the Chiefs are going to bring because he relies on being in third and short. Or, you know, for all those wins in the beginning of the season, Jonathan Taylor and the O-line were getting him to, like, third and the fewest yards to go. And that was really helping him out. So the more he's forced to anticipate and the more the pressure comes, the more that blitz comes, the more the crazy fronts and all the different ways that the Chiefs can make things look weird ahead of the snap versus what happens, disguised, you know, leverages, disguised, is it man, is it zone, etc. I think it's just gonna be ultimately be too much for Daniel Jones. And I'm not saying he sucks. I'm telling you, I think he's like a little above average. He's above average quarterback. That's great. They can build around him. They clearly did. But, you know, I think between Daniel Jones having some demons to exercise and DeForest Buckner being gone, I think the Chiefs win by at least 4 points. All right, we'll see what happens. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. Cynthia, great stuff as always. Very much appreciate the time. Enjoy the games, and we will talk to you next Wednesday.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great weekend. Make sure it's even louder. See, now you have to compete with empowered by Mile High, right? Because
Yeah, that's
you
true.
have I'd like to see a lot of tweets of, like an even bigger looking earthquake from the water at Arrowhead, which
Hey,
I'm sure can happen.
Loudest outdoor stadium in the world. Arrowhead has that
I know,
record.
they better live up to expectations. Come on, you need it in this one.
I think there will be a lot of nervous anxiety that will be brought out in the crowd noise on Sunday. That's what I think will happen. Whether they win or not, I'm not sure, but I think that'll be the case.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. I know that it's hard to imagine not being in a space where every game feels like a slam dunk win, but it's good for you to have to sweat it out a little bit. It reminds you to be grateful for things you have while you are there. We get a chance to watch Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. Think about it. We get to see them be superheroes now. So there's something to be grateful for in that.
I hope that is the case, and I hope that they go in and put on their capes and come out and win out and head to the playoffs and not have to sweat out the other teams doing what they're doing. We'll find out. Cynthia, awesome as always. I really appreciate it. We will talk next Wednesday, hopefully talking about a Chiefs victory.
You got it. See you later.
Absolutely. There's Cynthia Freeland. I think the crowd's going to bring it. I think Michael will have a big reason for that with the pyrotechnic team. I think Michael you're in charge of the entire pyro team, right? It's you're the one that runs the whole thing.
I'm not. I'd like to take credit for it, but no.
Okay. Well, you off the air, you say you're the main part. You're the most important part of the entire pyrotechnic team, and nobody else can do what you do.
I'm definitely a key cog in that machine.
I'm joking. Anybody that might be a part of that team and listening, he's never said that. He's always deferred and said, I suck. He also didn't say that either. We need to take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. We'll see who else is going to be at the podium. More Zone coming up next.
The run.
What did you say? Respect.
The run.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Mahomes is saying, "Are you talking to me?"
Yeah, you talking to me? We need the Chiefs and other teams to respect the run. They won't do it.
Yeah, no, they will not do it. They will not respect the run, and the Chiefs are not making them respect the run. Respect my authority. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes at the podium, and also Josh Simmons will be talking today, along with Nick Bolton. So we will hear Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Simmons. Now, we were told last week that Josh Simmons was going to be made available on Friday. They then said, well, we're going to hold off for this week, but he will be made available next week.
And did you believe that?
I did, actually.
Okay.
I did. Typically, when they say like that, then it's like, no, we're not messing. He will be made available next week. It's not sorry, we're not. Because it's a road game. Like we talked about, it's a road game in Denver last week. You have every excuse in the book to be out of there before the media gets in there because, hey, trying to get on the plane, get home. It's a later flight. It's 7 o'clock Central Time. The game's getting over. You're gonna get back at like 11 o'clock midnight, depending on what time you get to the plane. Let's get out of here. Home game with all of the media that will be there. The media that doesn't travel to road games that'll be there this weekend. If Simmons doesn't talk and get into what took place, or at least offer no comments, then after the game on Sunday, win or loss, that's what it's going to be about. That's what people are going to be asking him when he's at his locker. So better to do it now.
Yeah.
And make him available. And look, he can say, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. The questions are going to be asked. He can answer it whichever way he wants. I hope we get some information and some answers as to what happened. If not, that's his right. It's his prerogative. It's Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown told us that.
Josh Simmons. That's right. But we will hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Simmons, and Nick Bolton. But one of the things we'll be like, look, I asked Cynthia Freeland the scheme versus ability for Jonathan Taylor in that run game. What is it? She said, obviously, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. And yes, they scheme up the run really well. And Quentin Nelson, when they run left behind him, it's an avalanche running downfield and downhill. Which, whoever's lining up against Quentin Nelson, I mean, that's a rough matchup, whether that is Nadi, Pennell, or Chris Jones. Because Chris Jones stands straight up and gets pushed around in the run game. He does. That's just reality. It's just what takes place. But you do have to stop Jonathan Taylor and say, if Daniel Jones beats you, I'll tip my cap. But I'm going to blitz. We're going to run blitz. We're going to pass blitz. We're going to speed him up. We're going to get after him. And if he's making accurate passes, well, then we will live with that. But we're not going to live with losing in overtime because Jonathan Taylor has 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. That can't happen. Daniel Jones has 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Jonathan Taylor has 17 carries, 40 yards. Well, crap. Hopefully you scored points along the way, too, and you won, 31-21. And hey, that was the game plan. That's what you did. Because they ran all over the Atlanta Falcons. Jonathan Taylor did. But Daniel Jones, for whatever's going on these last 2 weeks for him, now they're coming off a bye, so maybe they've cleaned some things up. But Daniel Jones was sacked this year. How many sacks did he suffer this year, Daniel Jones? Here it is. He had 9 sacks. He was sacked 9 times going into the last 2 weeks. 9 times.
9 times?
9 times in 8 games. 9 sacks in 8 games against Daniel Jones. He's been sacked 12 times the last 2 weeks. 12 times. He had 3 interceptions in his first 243 pass attempts this year. 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. And no fumbles lost. So he turned the ball over 3 total times in those first 8 games. The last 2 weeks, 76 pass attempts, 4 interceptions, 6 fumbles, and 3 fumbles lost. He's turned the ball over 7 times. He has thrown an interception or put it on the ground 10 times in the last 2 weeks. You have to pressure him. This has to be a game, unlike the Denver Broncos where Spags went, it's a Bo Nix. We'll blitz him a quarter of the time. No, get after Daniel Jones. Stop the run blitzes, pass blitzes, whatever it is. Make him hurry. Make him panic, and he will fumble the ball. He'll throw the ball. The last 2 weeks, he's thrown it into the other team's arms. But they've also gone up against teams that are number 2 and 3 in sacks this year in Pittsburgh and Atlanta. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Simmons, Nick Bolton next.
The run.
We'll head out to Arrowhead and hear from the Kansas City Chiefs today in just a little bit when they get to the podium. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Simmons, and Nick Bolton will be at the podium today. So there you go. We're told that we are getting close to hearing from Andy Reid. Do you think, well, you know what? Here's Andy Reid.
All right. As far as injuries go for today's practice, Kingsley won't practice, but doing well. He had a concussion, and but he's doing pretty good right now. So, and then Xavier tweaked his ankle a little bit. He did the walkthrough. We'll see about practice as we go forward here. Look forward to challenge of playing Indianapolis. Good football team, well coached, and so I look forward to coming to GH Field at Arrowhead Stadium. Man, it's a great venue here, and we love playing here. So with that, time's yours.
Does this mean Pacheco will return to practice this week?
Yes. Yeah.
Coach, a lot of players have discussed consistency and the lack of. Just what have you just hasn't been able to be consistency? What can you do at this point in the season to try to be consistent?
Yeah, I mentioned it to you after the game. Just the penalties, those in this league, they get you. Even though you might overcome it, you've utilized certain plays to do it, and plays are valuable as you go through a game here. So. And you got to take care of it. You got to take care of that part of it. Start there, and then just take care of the turnovers and make sure we're giving the guys good stuff to work with. Which we look at first.
I was listening to Travis's podcast, and he said he kind of felt like most of the issues have been self-inflicted. Like you guys are just making those mistakes. When you get back and evaluate everything, is that how you feel? Like it really is up to you guys to clean this stuff up?
Yeah, that's and I told you, I start with myself. Could do better, way better. So, giving the guys better stuff to work with. And so everybody goes through and honestly looks at it that way, then good things normally happen. So yeah, I'd tell you yes. We've got good guys and they work hard, and so we'll make sure we take care of it.
Andy, when you look at your offense, you've been pretty good still on an every down basis, yards per drive, points per drive. What's the balance between like adjusting to the record versus maybe overreacting to it?
Yeah, we're not overreacting, but there's a certain urgency you've got to have, and to make sure that you clean up some of the stuff we've had, and so overreacting doesn't help. What helps is that you take care of your business individually and then collectively as a team. What you have to do, and the coaches are part of that, a big part of that too. So we're all in it.
Coach, along the lines of the same success, I mean, your point differential, I think, is like third highest or something for a team that's at 5-5. So I mean, there's obviously good things. Do you feel like what you're doing is working, or do you think structurally you need to be adjusting? I know you're going to get in and tweak, and there's mistakes you want to clean up, but is the framework of the offense still the right path?
Yeah, I mean, you guys see it all. So I mean, you know this, but when you do it in crucial situations, when there's a mistake, that gets you, and then it's tough to overcome at times. So we got to, when you're, whether it's a third down and short, or whether you're down at the 2-yard line and you got to back up, those type of things, those come back and haunt you when you're playing good teams. You might be able to overcome it against a not very good team, but against good teams, you gotta be sharp. And there's not a huge secret to that. You guys watch it like we watch it, so it's you gotta take care of them. As coaches, we gotta make sure we're giving the guys the stuff that they can do the best at.
Andy, is it interesting, or I guess concerning to you that you guys have not had as quick a starts as you would like, probably on offense, and are there ways that you figuring you guys need to get maybe Patrick more in rhythm in the first quarter than past years?
Yeah, Nate. Look, every year is different, so I approach it that way. Every game's different, so I go back and we look at everything, and so for games that maybe didn't start, well, why, and let's answer it, and or whatever. We're not running the ball. let's look at why. And that's the way we address it, and we do it on every play and make sure we come up with a better solution.
You're known for having your teams historically improve as the season goes along, but how much of that is, I guess, tied to maybe changes in the offensive scheme, right? Like, if you start the year in West Coast, you can't necessarily go full air raid. How much of that can be morphed or shifted throughout the course of the season when, statistics say you guys, for instance, run the ball well under center, but I don't know how much of that was baked into the scheme of the season began.
Yeah, we're not in a position where we need to wholesale that. That's not where we're at right now. We've got to just clean up some things. Yeah, it's not. But the nice part about this offense is you got a lot of directions you can go with it. There are a whole lot of things, different things that you can do with it. So it's important that we do the right things. We get ourselves in the right place.
Todd? Coach, just a little bit about the Colts. I mean, it's a relatively young head coach in the game, and you just wonder maybe what the personality of their team looks like, since you guys have played them every once in a while.
Sure. No, listen, he's done a nice job there, and quarterback's playing well for him. Defensively, they've got a great scheme, and they're very accurate with what they do, solid, and and then special teams, he's done a good job there. So he's got a good football team all the way around. It's not by chance that he's sitting where he's sitting record-wise.
Sir?
Is there any chance that just maybe as an organization, you guys have played so deep into every season for so many years now that there's just kind of like fatigue, not like you can't get up and get going, but just like 5 extra weeks every year.
Yeah, sure.
5 extra weeks of being exposed to what you want to do, and people have an extra tape on you. Is that potentially part of the problem?
I'm really tired of these press conferences. I don't think so. There's enough changeover in today's world that it keeps it fresh and so on. But I think we're okay there.
Through 10 weeks, just how would you evaluate Patrick Shear just compared to previous seasons?
I mean, listen, he's really having a good year. We've got a couple things that we got to clean up just all the way around. But he's played great football. He's got the margin between winning and losing in this league is like this, and so we've got to take care of this and get ourselves where we do a little bit better all the way around.
Andy, we're about to talk to Josh. What did you learn about him last week to be able to get himself ready?
Yeah, listen, I mean, for being away for a few weeks there, I thought he did a nice job. He got cleaned up a couple things, so with the penalties and that, but his effort, his attitude and everything was great. He was able to keep everything focused back to the football part of it. He had to take care of business, and he took care of it, and that's where he's at.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, there is Andy Reid. They, I think they have to clean some things up.
Will they get it cleaned up, though?
I don't know. They have to, though. They have to clean some things up. Just do
a few.
Just do a little
just
cleaning.
A few.
A little house cleaning. Just a little. It's not even spring yet.
You
It's not spring
Windex
cleaning season.
or-
You know what I mean? Just a little bit of cleaning. Just clean some stuff up, man. If you just clean some stuff up, you can clean some stuff up.
As the Titanic is sinking.
That's right. But
just clean a little bit.
By the way, it wasn't a mistake when he talked about, when you make mistakes in crucial situations, that gets you. It's tough to overcome, on a third down or, at the 2-yard line. Or he goes on and says some other things. I'm like, yeah, he didn't accidentally say 2-yard line.
Yeah.
They had first and goal at the 2, but the illegal formation from Juwan Taylor brought him all the way back to the 23. First and 15 from the 23.
Big, yeah.
First and goal, and 3 plays later, first down, pass to Tanyan, second down incomplete, third down interception.
Oh, that was a great question by Petron. I love Andy just going.
Suck up. Tired of the press.
Getting pretty tired of these press conferences. Because I guess I don't know what I expected from Andy, but answer-wise, but I think there's something to that. If you're playing 5+ games, 3+ games more than every other team, you're gonna eventually have that wear and tear catch up. So basically an extra full season.
Yeah.
So that was a good question. I didn't know what Andy's response was going to be. I think it was interesting. He's talked about there's enough new faces, But I also think the coaching staff could be part of the equation as far as that's also a lot of stuff you put on tape and the same ideas and the same thought process year after year after year.
Yeah, so on 3rd and 15, on the final drive of the game for the Broncos, they call out the defensive pressure from Spags. The Broncos offense does. Calls out what they're doing, and Chris Jones that's just great film study by them. Yes, and also a non-adjustment of doing the same things over and over again, apparently, from Spags. It's okay to switch. I think there can't be a situation on 3rd and 15 where Bo Nix is saying, this is what they're doing here on 3rd and 15. You come up to the line of scrimmage at Leo and Nick Bolton, and you're showing blitz and walking up and walking back and trying to disguise something, and that is not bothering him. He knows what you're doing. And Chris Jones is they knew exactly what we were doing. They called out. If you see it on film, he changes the protection and slides it and whatever right to what we were doing. Okay. Well, that's a problem then.
Yeah.
Because they knew based on that look what you were doing, and he's able to escape the pocket. There wasn't a whole lot of pressure anyway. Looked like he just escaped the pocket just to maybe give himself another window or so, because they're rushing 3 guys only, and Leo Chanel was spying Bo Nix on 3rd and 15. You need Leo Chanel to spy on 3rd and 15? Bo Nix gets outside the pocket and runs. I'm hoping you can swarm to a guy who is not R.J. Harvey or McLaughlin or Bidet and speed in the open field. It's Bo Nix.
Yeah.
He ain't Peyton Manning. Right? He's not Aaron Rodgers in the open field, but he's not Lamar either. But, that's a problem if you're doing the same things that they see over and over again. And if the first play of the game, you send Rashee Rice in motion from the backfield and it's an RPO and the linebacker is immediately dropping in pass coverage, because why? Well, they send that guy in motion, they throw the ball. That's what That's what Cole Bishop was talking about, right?
Yeah.
In the Buffalo Bills, when Xavier Worthy would go in motion or the other motion, he knew exactly what they were doing, and so they were able to, the interception, not intercepting the ball, but the intercept point of the player and you and your angle could be more sharp to that person because he's getting the ball right there. It's not going to be a fake and a wheel route. I don't have anything to worry about. Okay, well, those motions are now being picked up. Usually the motions are oh, there's so much eye candy. And they're no, I'm pretty disciplined. I'll put the candy aside. I'm going to eat the meat and vegetables now. The eye candy isn't bothering me. The showing blitz and backing off, not bothering me. I know what you're doing. Oh, Rashee Rice in motion? I know what you're doing. I'm dropping back and fading, and we're actually sliding that way because you're going to throw it to him because that's what you do when he goes in motion. You don't hand it off.
And the Chiefs now have a very similar but almost souped-up version of the Broncos with the Colts this week. It's, I think, Daniel Jones and Bo Nix, but you're taking Daniel Jones, a team that's going to have a great run game. They have a great tight end in Tyler Warren. I mean, this Colts team is
Michael Pittman's stud receiver.
Alec Pierce has really come on as their deep threat. Josh Downs has been a nice player. Their defense is really, really solid, and they got better with the bringing in of Sauce Gardner, no DeForest Buckner, which, again, the Chiefs are getting another team with one of their best players being out.
Yeah.
They have a good offensive line that's shown cracks the past couple of weeks. But you just look at this Colts team, and on paper, of course, they're a bad matchup for the Chiefs because they are a team with a good defense, with a offensive line that protects their quarterback.
To a degree. Until the last couple of weeks.
To a degree, who's a good
until the last 2 weeks they did,
and a good run game. But again, you look at them. It's not Daniel Jones. It's not Josh Allen. No one's going to get confused. But you have a mobile quarterback with a great tight end and a great run game, with a good offensive line. I think
it's a. I'm leaning towards picking the Colts to win, and my confidence was shot with the last 2 games. But I'll get into more of that. Here's Patrick Mahomes.
Consistency and how you guys haven't been able to just get on track with that. At this point in the season, how do you feel that you guys can try to turn the corner and be a little more consistent?
Yeah, I think it just comes with the history that we've had and knowing that we have the guys to do it. It's about going out there and proving it now and getting better at practice, getting better in the film room, getting extra time at the facility. But, I mean, talking with the guys throughout the building this week, I think guys are excited for the opportunity to go out there and prove that. But like I said, you got to go out there and do it. You can't just keep talking about it. You got to go out there and do it. And it starts with me and kind of has to feed through the entire team.
Patrick, what was the most frustrating part about that loss?
For me, it was just getting the ball with 4 minutes left and not getting points and not getting a first down or really anything. Just being in those moments before, knowing how important it is to kind of get some momentum in your team by at least moving the ball a little bit and changing the field position, and not being able to do that was big. So that was the most disappointing part for me, because even though I didn't feel like we played to our best level, our best standard, there was still an opportunity to win the football game, and we weren't able to do that.
In a lot of ways, it seems like maybe the offense is better this year than it was last year. Is it just a matter of just plays and situational football?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've preached that for the last few years. Is like these games are a couple plays here and there. I mean, there's not a lot of times in this league where you're blowing teams out, and so there's a couple plays here and there that you have to make. And we've been able to make those plays in these last few years, and we're not doing that this year. And now it's about giving ourselves more opportunities to make those plays, and then when we get those opportunities, going out there and doing it. And so I'm excited for it. We got a lot of good football teams coming up, starting off with the Colts. But it's a great opportunity to go out there and get our season turned around and get going in the right direction.
Patrick, are you seeing common denominators in particular on some of the deep passes that you haven't connected on?
Yeah, I'm just not making the throws. This is pretty much the biggest thing. Guys are getting open and giving me chances to make the plays down the field. I give them chances to make plays. And, I mean, if you look at the one to Taekwon later in the game, it wasn't necessarily the best thrown ball, but it gave him a chance. And I think that's something that I can learn from with guys like Xavier's early, is that it might not be the perfect pass that's going to be a touchdown and catch like that, but if I can throw the ball and just give him a chance to make a play, he'll make the play on it, and then he can make the play and score a touchdown from there. So being better there and giving guys chances usually works out.
On that play in particular, the Xavier one, are you seeing the same angle he's running? Is he running where you fully anticipate him to go, or is that a little bit of just getting more and more on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, the angle stuff is one thing. I think what I've learned from just playing for a while now is that those deep passes, like I said, those deep passes don't have to be perfect. You know, I think we always want to make the perfect throw, but if he wins like that, you can flatten his angle. You can throw the ball with more air underneath it, and then he can adjust, and that's why he is the player that he is. And so why not give him that opportunity and try to throw the ball perfectly down the field? And it looks awesome when it happens, but then obviously there's more misses than there is completions. And so if you look at the best deep ball throwers in the league and in the history of the NFL, they weren't always just these perfectly thrown balls, but they were giving guys chances, and they were going out there and making plays.
When you look at this Colts defense, they've got Lou Anarumo as a defensive coordinator. Does it look like what the Bengals used to try to do to you, or is it totally?
They definitely do some of the stuff. I mean, Coach Anarumo is a great defensive coordinator, a great coach, and he has his stuff. But I think what makes him such a great defensive coordinator is he kind of tailors his team, tailors his scheme to the team that he's playing with, and so he wants to go with their strengths, and so getting their guys in the best position to succeed. And even from some of the trades they made, they've adjusted their defense as well. And so I think that's something that makes him a great coach, is that he's not stuck in his ways of like how he calls a thing. He adjusts his scheme to the team that's around him, and obviously they've done a lot of great things this year.
There's some numbers about your guys' success when you're under center.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference? Do you care whether you're under center or shotgun or?
Nah, my preference is to win. So whatever the way that happens, I'm good with.
Patrick, you mentioned Anarumo. Is it difficult to prepare for a guy that is willing to change so much, specifically when they just added such a key player like Sauce? There's not a ton of film of his scheme with that player.
I mean, obviously there's going to be some difficulties there, but at the same time, we've played him so many times that you just go back and watch every game that you played against him and see the different things that he's done to you, the change-ups he's thrown at you, and then know there's going to be a wrinkle that he has this game, and try to make a positive play out of it. It doesn't have to be a home run shot or whatever it is, but getting the ball to a check down, getting the ball to a guy that can get 5 to 6 yards, and then kind of getting back into the flow of the game. I think that's something that's important against him, is that he'll continue to throw different things at you just to make sure that you're not settled with what he's calling, and that's something that I have to continue to be great with throughout the entire football game.
Patrick, run balance has been a topic this week for whatever reason, and RPOs by extension of that. I guess as you look at all the RPOs this year, how have you felt about your decision making right or wrong on certain plays?
Yeah, I feel like I've done a good job of it. I think there's times where I should hand it, and there's times where I should throw the ball more, and I think you just have to continue to read and get better and better with it. I think more than anything, it's just giving guys chances, either catching the ball or running the ball, even if the perfect look is not there. And so there's times where I might have thrown it, we got 5 or 6 yards, and that's a positive play, but you can hand the ball off and kind of keep defenses honest as well. And so that's stuff that I've worked with throughout my entire career, and it's something that's been huge in our offense for a long time. So I think for us, it's just continue to get better and better each and every game.
Patrick, on the RPOs, following up on that, what's your process on that? How's the mechanics of it as far as pre-snap reads? How much your decision is after the snap? How does it work for you?
I mean, there's multiple. There's times we coach Heck and Coach Reed and all of them. They coach multiple ways of reading it. I mean, there's times where we're reading a certain guy, and there's times we're reading coverages, and there's times where you're reading space. And so it just kind of depends on that week and the team that you're playing, and being able to adjust accordingly. And so, like I said, our goal is to get 5 or 6 yards on every single time we run an RPO, either running the ball or throwing the ball. And I think we've done a good job of that throughout the season. But at the end of the day, like I said, sometimes you got to hand the ball off, even if the throw gets you 5 or 6 yards, just to keep the defense honest and to set up other stuff throughout the rest of the game.
I know there's a lot of conversation about the deep ball, but you don't have a lot of targets in the intermediate. Do you feel like there's, for lack of a better term, more meat on the bone there, that you could work that area a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the coverages that we've been getting. I mean, teams are playing more man coverage against us, which gives more opportunities to throw the ball down the field. But until we prove that we can hit those throws down the field, then teams are going to continue to play man coverage. And so that's something that's going to be important for us, is to hit some of those throws. And once we start hitting some of the throws, like you saw this last game against Denver, you hit one deep throw and all of a sudden the offense opens up. And then you're able to hit other throws as well. And so I think we've always done a really good job of being able to take what's there. It's just about hitting some of those deeper throws to loosen the defense up, and then give us opportunities to throw the ball everywhere throughout the offense.
Anything you can pinpoint, Patrick, when you go back and rewatch the film, as to why you guys have had slower starts than usual on offense this season?
I mean, there's been games where we've had great starts and we've usually won them, and there's been games where we don't have good starts and we've lost them this year. And so I think just learning from those. I mean, like this last week, if you hit the throw to Xavier, that's a great start, and then the Taekwondo after that. And so it's just little things here and there, but those little things add up. And I think that's something that we have to continue to get better and better at. I have to be better at getting us going in the right direction. If I'm going to make that throw to Xavier, I got to hit it. If not, I got to hit Travis to keep the chains moving. And those are the decisions that I have to make. And when I make those decisions, I have to go out there and execute them.
Todd?
Coach is so even-keeled. Everything's kind of the same and keeps the routine. You get a game like this, you're 5-5. It's obviously a big game. How do you handle that kind of the sense of urgency throughout the week? I mean, you ratchet things up in the meetings, practice. I mean, how do you go about kind of doing that as a leader on the offense?
Yeah, I mean, just like if you were going to like a big divisional game or a playoff game, whatever it is, you just know what's at stake. And so you try to prepare yourself throughout the week and do the little extra stuff so that your mind can be settled on game day, and then you can go out there and just play, knowing that you need to go out there and win the football game, and know we're playing against a really good football team that's playing great football right now. And it's a great opportunity at the end of the day. Like obviously we're 5-5, not where we want to be at. But we get to write the rest of this season's story, and it starts this week with the Colts at Arrowhead, and I'm excited for us to go out there and do it.
I know you guys talk a lot about holding yourselves accountable. How do you hold teammates accountable in meetings, practice? I mean, how does that affect you guys?
Yeah, I think it just first you got to go out and do it. Like I'm always you have to go out there and show that you're going to put in the work, and I think if you do that, you can ask guys and push guys to do more. And we have a lot of great dudes in this locker room, and you can see it in their mindset and the way that they're walking around the building this week is that they're pushing themselves to be even better, knowing that we're this close. You have to just continue to push yourself to kind of break through that barrier and get to where we want to be at as a football team. And I'm excited. Like I said, it's not where we want to be at, and it's been a rough kind of high-low season, but we get to write the rest of the story. So let's go out there and do it.
Last two, Nate and then Matt. Go ahead, Nate.
Actually, you've been really high on Josh Simmons ever since the team selected him in the draft. With him coming back and playing against those dominant pass rushers, did you learn anything extra, or is it just sort of reaffirming what you guys knew about how talented he could be?
Yeah, I mean he's a great football player, and he's gotten better every week that he's played, and he'll continue to get better. I think just for him, it's just going to continue to stack days on days of just getting better, pushing himself to be the best player that he can be. But like I said, I since he stepped on, like you said, since OTAs when he got out there and the way he was rehabbing, the way he was getting back at it to training camp into the season, he's gotten better and better, and I think the sky's the limit. He's got to keep pushing to get even better.
Matt?
You know, based on how you described it and how, Andy talked on Monday about how teams are sometimes encouraging or at least allowing you to pass on the RPOs, how much of it is that decision is baked in even to the game plan, or it evolves as the game goes on, that those are going to be passes just the way that based on teams have played in the past or looks that they've shown or how they're playing that day?
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, like the first play of the game this last week, I mean, with that pressure, the safety pressuring like that, we knew they might get into a run blitz type thing, and you throw the ball to Rasheed, you get a first down, you kind of get the things going, and so that's the stuff that you want. But then there's times where you throw the ball and it might get 3 yards, like I did Travis later in the game, and you want to make sure that you give guys chances to run the football on plays like that. And so just reading the coverages, understanding what the defense is doing, and then making the best decision you feel like for the team.
Thank you.
All right, there goes Patrick Mahomes. Boy, there was a lot there. There was a whole lot to get into and talk about what we heard from Patrick Mahomes there. Obviously, a lot of stuff with the RPOs, him weighing in on the Indianapolis Colts. But also, God, I want to go back and look now at the All-22 from that game when he talked about the first play of the game, which is something that we talked about, was that first play of the game. Mitchell Schwartz had that breakdown of, look at this wide open space to run. And it's not like, Mahomes did not make a bad decision. They picked up 11 yards, and he even said that there. You get 11 yards, and now you're off and rolling. It's a good decision, good offense, and you did your thing. But also, you had a pretty decent opportunity to hand the ball off to maybe keep the defense honest for the rest of the game. But asked there at the end about how much is that scheme, it's sort of predetermined snap, what they're showing, and he said the first play of the game that they had the safety blitz look, that they had the look and the safety blitz was coming, which is what happened. They've got Hufanga on the left side, and he's lined up behind, looks like, I guess, Cooper. And he blitzes inside, which then allows Rashee Rice to get outside. So now that is one less defender on the edge for Rashee Rice. And so, which is interesting because, honestly, I didn't see that in the breakdown from Mitchell Schwartz of where they were looking at the linebacker and the linebacker dropping, and so it's no respect for the run game. But Mahomes is looking at it and saying, okay, we've got 3 guys over here. And Rashee Rice is going to be over there with Travis Kelce and our wide receiver against, 2 defensive players. And then Hufanga's there to stop Rashee Rice if we throw the ball. Oh, look, he's blitzing now. That means we got 2 guys to block 2, and Hufanga is now out of the picture. So I can hand it off to Kareem Hunt here, and if Hufanga cuts the edge and tackles him in the backfield, well, I had Rashee Rice with 2 blockers and only 2 guys in front of him. I missed that, which is a good point because he got past Hufanga, and it was actually Jonathan Cooper that chased him down from behind because Cooper was not necessarily all out, I'm going after Patrick Mahomes. He starts to rush and then stops because Hufanga is blitzing. And by stopping, he ends up getting Rashee Rice 11 yards down the field chasing. So if he isn't that aware, good on him. If he's not that aware, well, then Rashee Rice is still running.
Well, I doubt he's still running. I mean, it's Wednesday.
No, he's still running. He would have been tackled probably 3 or 4 yards later, right?
Sure.
But just that whole point of, that was a great question by Matt Derrick on what you're seeing versus scheme, pre-snap, post-snap, what they do, and great explanation by Patrick Mahomes there of what the Broncos do. They showed the safety blitz, therefore I hit Rashee Rice because now I've got a guy with the ball in his hands, 2 guys in front of him, and 2 defenders. I'll take that. You win that battle. You lose that fight. You lose that fight 9 times out of 10. And they picked up 11 yards, like Mitchell Schwartz said. That wasn't a bad decision. But also what I thought was interesting, Sterling, how many times did Mahomes say, but sometimes you hand it off just to keep the defense honest.
They're saying that stuff.
Yes.
Will they do that stuff?
He was asked about his decision-making in the RPOs, and he said, I think I've done a good job. Times I could have handed off, times I could have passed it, times I might have thrown it with a positive play, but maybe a handoff would have been better to keep teams honest and defenses honest. Thought that, okay, we talked about that earlier. And then he said, RPO read, what's his read? He said, well, sometimes it's the players, sometimes it's coverage, sometimes it's the space. You have to adjust accordingly, but sometimes you just have to hand the ball off to help out later in the game. I mean, that's exactly what we talked about that first play, right? We said, is an 11-yard gain better than a 7-yard gain? In a vacuum, yes, it is. But when you take the snap and the defense immediately drops, a linebacker that's already 7 yards deep immediately drops back because he does not think you are going to hand the ball off. Is it better just to simply hand the ball off? Here's Josh Simmons.
First off, I want to thank the entire Kansas City and this club for having my six the time I was away from the team. Showed how much love this team and city has for me, and I can't wait to give it back to them. So.
Is there anything you would like to share just about your absence?
Kind of want to keep that in house. All due respect, I know everybody wants, but it's kind of something I want to keep, inside.
As your first game back, though, how do you think you played?
There's always room, but I think as a front, we swung as hard as we could. There's obviously some things that we you can't control. They're also a really good football team, so I think it's just kind of picking up on the film and kind of cleaning some stuff up.
Did you feel a little rust?
A little bit. I mean, 15 is an extremely gifted player, so going against that was a fair welcome back. But I think with the teammates that I had throughout that week, they helped me up and kind of helped brush that stuff off.
Josh, what were you able to do while you were gone to stay in football shape and just stay as ready to come back as possible?
Yeah, I had access to gyms and stuff like that, so I was making sure I was working out once and hitting like some field work, just keeping my feet alive and stuff like that, making sure my nervous system was woken up.
Did you feel like physically when you came back, like, yeah, I'm ready?
I did. I was ready to play. Absolutely.
What about just like communication with the team? What was that kind of like? Were you involved in virtual meetings or anything, getting information, just kind of the stuff that wasn't physical?
Yeah, I mean, I had access to my playbook and stuff like that, so I was able to kind of keep up and stay proactive with maybe, studying plays or something like that, making sure I was going over notes and stuff like that. And communication with the team was very transparent, especially at the end. But, yeah.
Josh, how difficult was this time away from your teammates and just dealing with your situation, but also how did they help you, encourage you through this time?
So I have got some teammates that were, always checking in on me. Obviously, they had games and stuff like that. But, when you have teammates like that, that definitely, I was itching to get back and fight for them. But I think from here, I think I just kind of. I'm sorry, what was the first part of that question again?
No, just how difficult was this time?
Being away from the game. I mean, I missed a little chunk of my college season, so being away from the game again I was itching to get back on the field.
Andy Reid, while you were away, Coach Reid, while you were away, said, he's handling business. I guess what did it mean to you that the team was so accepting of whatever it is you were doing?
It's not my fault to kind of dwindle on, but my part was to make sure that I was in shape for the time when I came back.
Josh, Ohana is a big part of the Polynesian culture, as you know. How big was it to have your family behind you and supporting you and encouraging you during the time frame you were away?
My family isn't my personal family or a football team. It was amazing. Obviously, family is the biggest thing, as you know, Polynesians lean on. So, when you get in that, it just makes everything a lot better. So.
Couple more. Josh, what stands out about the Colts defensive front when you look at them on film?
They're very disciplined. I'm looking at their ends right now. We just got a flash of them, and they play very hard. I know I'm teammates with one of the D linemen down there, former teammates with one of the D linemen down there, and then they just play. They're very, very strong, very physical. They're going to get after it. They're not really necessarily going to, Myles Garrett, but they are extremely gifted, and that's something that I'm going to be studying my tail off to be going against.
There's 7 games left now. I guess what do you want? What is your individual goal for the finals?
Just win. Just keep winning.
You mentioned staying in shape while you were gone. What was football to you while you were gone? Was it a connection for you, or was it something that was a distraction, or?
Definitely not a distraction. I was wherever I was making sure I was watching the game, tuning in, or keeping up with who we were going against the next week or something like that. So it wasn't a distraction at all. I knew exactly I was going to come back and be ready.
Last one, Sam, and we'll go last one.
Josh, is it your anticipation that he'll be here for the remainder of the
Absolutely, I will be here for the rest of the season. Kansas City Chiefs.
You mentioned this in the time at Ohio State and everything. Do you get that view of watching it, just on TV, fan? Do you something you see different? Does it give you a different perspective looking at it?
Not really. I mean, it is. You can definitely tell it's a different kind of lens that you look at it from, maybe the couch or somewhere versus, obviously on the field, but not too much of a difference. You just know kind of deeper what's going on.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Josh.
So there you go. There's Josh Simmons, going to keep everything in-house of what took place behind the scenes. Felt a little rusty, but not a whole lot. Felt he was physically ready to go, but, you got an extremely gifted player in number 15 across from him, and Nick Benito. That's a pretty decent welcome back to the game. He had access to gyms, worked on field work, and physically he felt ready to play when he returned. He looked fine while he was out there. Felt ready to play when he returned. He had access to the playbook, was very transparent in communication with the team. A couple of players reached out. It was great that he's got teammates like that. And the whole time he was, quote, itching to get back. And then at the end said, I think Sam McDowell said, "Are you planning on being here the rest of the year?" He said, "I will be here the rest of the year." Very adamant. I'll be here the rest of the year. The Kansas City Chief. So
that's a good to
see the team again. Whatever might be going on, not sure. Here is Nick Bolton.
Jonathan Taylor, this Colts offense. You guys faced him a few years ago up there. Did a pretty nice job against him. How much different does he look now than when you saw him up there a couple of years ago?
Yeah, obviously this year looks fresh, looks rejuvenated. He's running the ball very well, doing a lot of different things for him. Obviously, like scheme-wise, kind of some things are similar, some things are different. We got a lot of key guys that are the same, and so find different ways to use those guys and get them out in space, and obviously get the ball 28 whenever get the chance to.
You've obviously faced some of the NFL's top running backs this year, though. But when you compare the skill set of Taylor to some of the other ones, what are some of the things, his attributes that you always have to be aware of?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of these guys in this league are dynamic guys in the backfield. He's a little bit thicker than the rest of them. So yards with the contact, spin on contact. He's a lot similar to like Bijan and Jameer in terms of speed and athleticism. Besides stature-wise, he's a little bit thicker than those guys. So I think it's going to be a population at the ball. Tackling's going to be a difficult thing for us. We're trying to get 4 or 5 guys to the ball when we can and just make tackles out in space.
Nick, what's set with you most about the game at Denver?
Yeah, just kind of a couple missed opportunities in that game. But honestly, just can't dwell on the past. I've got an opportunity ahead of us to kind of control our own destiny and a chance to get to the playoffs. So just week by week, day by day, play by play is where our mindset is.
Where do you see differently from Daniel Jones that he was doing in New York and now he's doing it in Indianapolis?
Yeah, first and foremost, taking care of the football. He's doing a great job getting the ball to his pass catchers, giving him a chance to make plays with the ball. They do a great job of getting guys out in space, attacking schemes, and doing a good job getting the people the ball and timing on target. He looks confident, looks driven. It's a great opportunity for him and another opportunity for us to play at home.
Yeah. What about the rookie tight end? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, he does a lot of different things from at the backfield, in line, off the ball. Put him in there as a fullback. Sometimes there's some run plays. Put him in at fullback and pass the ball to him. Over routes, deep routes, 7 routes. I mean, there's a little bit of everything for him. So that's gonna be a challenge for us to kind of disrupt him at the line of scrimmage and make things hard for him.
Everyone would like to force turnovers. It's been a couple weeks you guys haven't had any. There's no real secret to how it happens, I guess. But how important would something like that be in a game like this? Because it's been a couple weeks you guys were minus in these very close games.
Yeah, giving the ball to Patrick on a short field and getting an opportunity for our offense to put points on the board and scoring position. We've been trying to do that for the last couple of weeks. Just haven't gotten it done. We've been on the real close, getting hands on balls, getting close to it. But at the end of the day, we've got to find a way to get 1 or 2 of those things out, set our team up, put points on the board, and obviously it'll help us in this game.
Chris Jones said he thought Denver knew what you were doing. That was one of his comments afterwards. Did you get that sense that they had picked up on what you guys were trying to do to him?
My eyes and ears, honestly, were in a different place during that time. But obviously, if he said that they saw something for us to take into account, we're going to play those guys again. And so just something to keep in our back pocket, try to make sure that we can disguise things and just try to make things harder on the quarterback.
How about just the sense of urgency around here? You mentioned you guys control your destiny, but not much margin for error now.
Yep.
What do you feel, and what's your responsibility as a leader in the defensive rooms, practice, and all that stuff to be ready for this game?
Yeah, just kind of honing in on the details. I mean, the margin of error in this league is super small, so just make sure everybody's in the right space at the right time, executing the game plan, just doing little things to give us a chance. Something you can ask for in this league is a chance to go out there and win a football game, to not beat ourselves. And so it's kind of where our mindset is right now. Control what we can control, play in and play out, and to make the negative plays and bad things for us, and just give us a chance to win the game at the end.
There's plenty of fans who are down, who feel like things aren't going right or whatever. What's the attitude like in the building? I mean, where are you guys right now, attitude-wise?
Yeah, it was an opportunity. Opportunity to go out there and win a game this week, just week by week. Can't look too far ahead. So our mindset's literally just on this day, this practice, this 10 plays, this 20 plays, wherever that may be, just to give ourselves a chance to go out there on Sunday and play fast, get into the fourth quarter and see what happens.
Next Sunday against the Colts, some people have said this is a Nick Bolton kind of game. What does that mean?
Yeah, just physical in between the tackles. They pride themselves in running the ball. I think John Taylor's averaging almost 5 yards a carry. So, yeah, I mean, as an inside backer, linebacker, you look for these matchups. You got a great opportunity, great online. Quentin Nelson, especially. Then you got Jonathan Taylor as well. So, as an inside backer, personal problem solving, playing the run, it's an opportunity for a lifetime for me.
Last one. No takers.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. There's Nick Bolton. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling what we heard from Patrick Mahomes, what we heard from Josh Simmons, what we heard from Andy Reid, Nick Bolton. More Zone coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up at 1 o'clock, Mick Schaefer will join us, KSHB 41 Sports Director, on this Wednesday edition of the show. Coming up tonight, we got the Hawk Talk with Lance Leipold. They get set for a big game at Iowa State, 4.5-point dogs. The Kansas Jayhawks are. Need a win the last couple of weeks to get to bowl eligibility. That comes up tonight, 6 o'clock, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 7 o'clock, the KC Take with Andy Sweeney. 9 o'clock, Bethany Bowman's going to be on the mic. And then 10 o'clock, Michael Darcy is going to be shifting at the night shift.
Ah, okay.
With Michael McKell is it Darkay? Darkay. Dark.
How did I
Dark
think
Eye.
your last name
Dark Eye.
was said and pronounced? Because I'm pretty.
I don't know. How did you
There's DRC. I get that one a lot.
Oh, DRC.
It wasn't DRC because that just sounds dumb. I knew it wasn't that. If someone calls you that, they're just ridiculous. A ridiculous human being.
It was DRC, wasn't it?
That's the most common one.
Just DRC. Because there's a D hyphen. There's a hyphen in
It's an
Darcy's last
apostrophe.
name. Well, yeah, apostrophe.
Yeah, it's not a hyphen.
Yeah.
It's an apostrophe.
It would be great if it was a.
I wish it was a hyphen.
That'd be badass.
That'd
I don't know what I call it. I have to think of that.
That'd be the Dashercy. If it was a dash.
I'll figure it out at some point, Darcy. You don't need to do it right now and hash this out.
No, we don't. We don't need to do that.
I don't know.
because,
It might be more interesting what Josh Simmons said.
I would love to know what one part of it, what he said. I could not make out what he was talking about. But he also didn't give much information, wants to keep that in-house. He did thank the franchise, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the fans for having his 6. So he starts off with that before any questions of, thanking everybody around there. Wants to keep it in-house with all due respect. Communication was transparent, all of that stuff from Josh Simmons. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of information. I honestly didn't think we would get any answers there. I thought it would be, I'm going to keep this in-house. Because here's the thing. If it was something that they didn't care about being public, it would have been said a while ago.
Well, I guess my thought was he has the chance in this situation to be done with it. Because now there is still going to be folk at least wondering to an extent.
But nobody's going to ask him anymore moving forward because he already said, I want to keep that in-house. If you're asking him again, it's just sort of badgering at that point. Like he already said, I want to keep it in-house. You move on from the questions.
Sure.
But the speculation won't just move on because it'll be what actually went on. Don't know. Well, I heard this. Well, I heard that.
And that's kind of the point of the speculation aspect of, I'm not even saying necessarily the media in questioning. But
if it never got out to this point, then there was a reason why they didn't want it out public.
Sure.
And so I didn't expect Josh Simmons then to offer that up when the team himself, Drew Rosenhaus, nobody around him has offered up publicly what's going on behind the scenes.
Which, by the way, is insane in today's day and age.
Yeah. You'd think there'd be like somebody would see like, his wife looking for a house in Baton Rouge or something. Or Gainesville, there's got to be something out there.
Congratulations to, by the way, the team for being tight-lipped and no one spilling the beans.
Loose lips sink ships.
You know what that means?
What's it mean?
It's a close team. No backstabbing.
Well, I mean, they could be a little bit closer in terms of their execution in games.
There's that aspect,
which has certainly been an issue. And Andy Reid, look, they just have to clean some things up. Clean some things up and it'd be all good at that point. So they do that, and they're going to start winning all these games once that gets a little cleaner from Andy Reid. He did say that word a lot. I mean, if you had a bingo game of how often he said clean some things up, you would have had a blackout. If you took a shot every time he said that, you would have been blacked out.
Blackout, yeah. I'm tired of that at this point.
Yeah.
It's grating. It has my ire now because we've heard this for 11 straight weeks, 10 straight weeks. And it's the same issues week in and week out.
Yeah.
It's not like we've seen growth in the aspects. If you lose, but the aspects of the frustrations or the aspects that clearly need work have been improved, I think you can be more understanding. Right? If all of a sudden they lost, but they ran the ball 20 times, Kareem Hunt did his thing, but Bo Nix all of a sudden went off.
Yeah.
You tip your cap and say, well, they at least worked on the thing that we wanted them to do, which was hand the ball off more. Right? when you see the same issues arise every single week, at some point you have to sit back and go, well, what are you actually working on? What are you actually cleaning up? I know you're saying that, and are you just saying that so people stop asking the question?
Right. But it's just saying it because it's just a generic.
It's what you do.
Generic thing to say.
You say it because it's what you do.
Yes.
At some point, the words ring hollow, and the results in Missouri, the show me state, need to be shown.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, show me. Because it's Missouri, right? Yeah, good call. But yeah, I mean, look, we'll find out on Sunday. He said, Andy Reid said, let's see, he mentioned the urgency again. He said it on Monday about the urgency now moving forward, and he said it again today. We're not overreacting, but there's got to be the sense of urgency. You have to clean the stuff up. They know there's no margin for error. Like, there's no getting around it. They can say every game is the same, but it's not the same. And you know that every game is not the same because when Patrick Mahomes says that, let's see, when he was talking about this particular game and this season, I put some stars next to it because, there it is. Talking about the game on Sunday. So we hear, every game's the same. You got to take every game the same. Every game's the same. Every week's the same. You can't be too high or too low. Can't take one opponent more serious than the other. And Patrick Mahomes said, it's like a big divisional game or a playoff game. You're focusing in on the detail. You're getting the extra work in. That's what this week is. It is also an acknowledgement of what we already know to be true. Some games are viewed a little bit bigger than others, and some games you have to focus in a little bit more than others. And this is a game where Patrick Mahomes has said it's like a big divisional game or a playoff game. You focus in on the details, you put in the extra work, and then talked about leading by example of putting in the extra work. And he said, you're asking guys to push through, to do more. You ask those guys to push themselves to do more, and talking about leading by example, it's easier to do that. And he said guys this week are pushing themselves to break through, and you're seeing that around the locker room. You're seeing that around the facilities this week getting ready for the Colts. Okay. We'll see. It sounds different than last week.
Better now than never, but again, coming off of a bye, you think that the desperation against an AFC West opponent with the chance for 10 straight AFC West titles on the line, you think that would have been enough last week to get them up?
It sounds better than what we heard last week. Because last week it was like, this is another, it's a divisional game. He's got to be ready for a divisional game. Like Hollywood Brown is like, no, this one isn't more, paraphrasing, like to the degree of like, oh, no, this one isn't more. Andy Reid, like, there's urgency every week. Every week there's urgency because it's an NFL game. You want to go out there and play well. Then they lose, and they don't play well. And now they're 5-5. And they could be annoyed about, we're better than our record is. But you're 10 games in, man. 0-2? Yeah, you're better than 0-2, right? You're not a winless team. It's only 2 games in. You can see how, areas of improvement. You're not 0-2 team. You're not a 1-2 team, right? You're not a 2-3 team. But at this point, you're a 5-5 team. That's what you are, which means that at times you play really well, and at times you don't. Well, we've got some good players. It's the National Football League. Every team has good players.
Yeah.
But how do you execute in those games? Because every team you're going up against in a first-place schedule is viewing you as the litmus test and beating you. The Denver Broncos, we talked about it last week, and Andre on Twitter said, people are talking about the Chiefs' desperation. Has there ever been a more desperate team with a 2-game lead in the division than the Broncos are this week to prove themselves that they're the new, team in the West? They played like that. They played like we're winning the division today. We're stamping our playoff ticket today and a home game in the playoffs today by playing this team. And they were prepared in knowing from the first play of the game what the Chiefs were doing to then the 3rd and 15 Bo Nix calling out what the coverage was for Spags and the blitz to what the Chiefs were doing. They were on top of it, and the Chiefs weren't. And they were sloppy. And they had 4 pre-snap penalties. One was incredibly crucial in costing you first and goal from the 2 because you didn't line up correctly, which is beyond embarrassing at this point. But they went up against a team that was incredibly desperate while they were coming off a bye. The Colts are now coming off a bye. I don't know that the Colts are playing a desperate game, but I think the Colts can view it as they're still trying to win their division. They've got a 2-game lead on their division. And then you beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The last thing you want to see in the playoffs, I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody else says around the league, there is no team in the AFC that wants to sit there and go, oh, we got a home game this week for the playoffs. Who are we playing? The Chiefs. Mother of God. And that includes the Colts. And so if you're the Indianapolis Colts, you go, what's the best way to not play the Chiefs in the playoffs? Winning, beating the Chiefs, making them closer to not making the playoffs. So that's what this week is for them. But the point about the Denver Broncos being a desperate team was a great point because they were, in terms of the division. There is clearly a team that will be more desperate on the field on Sunday. And that is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs that will be more desperate. And they're saying that. Mahomes and Andy Reid saying that. There's an urgency immediately. Patrick, it's like a big divisional game or a playoff game. You focus in on the details. You have to put in the extra work. You're asking guys to put in the extra work. You can only do that if you yourself are doing that. You're asking guys to push through, work even harder to push through to get to that next level. This is the time to do it. This is also a team that would turn it on come playoff time. And it was like, man, it felt like they were just trying to get through the regular season to go play playoff football. And they have looked like a team this year that is just trying to get through the regular season to go play playoff football. That's no longer the case. They have to then say, as Mahomes is saying, every week, playoffs. Extra detail, extra work, extra time, which is what we do in the playoffs, different than the regular season. It's now playoff football for the Chiefs. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Man, if you're out there and suffering from erectile dysfunction, then there is no need to wait around. Heartland Men's Health is here to help you in whatever may be causing that condition because you just don't know what can cause that condition. It can be caused by many different things and then in turn can cause depression and arguments, breakups, and contribute to divorce. There are a lot of things that could be going on. Maybe you've tried the pills or the herbal, sort of that one size fits all. This is the magic elixir that'll help you, and maybe it's worked, maybe it stopped working, maybe it never worked. And Heartland Men's Health has treatments that work when the pills or the herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area, and with the peptides, continue to stay on top of the cutting-edge technology in men's health. Schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99. That includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. If it does, there you go. An expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We heard from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Simmons, and Nick Bolton. Big game coming up on Sunday. We talked to Cynthia Freeland earlier in the show, and she talked about Jonathan Taylor, the scheme versus ability, and then, of course, Daniel Jones and what kind of quarterback he is. And there is a vast difference between the first 8 games of the season and the last 2 games of the season. Last week they were off, but you got Daniel Jones that's just night and day from whatever he was and how defenses were approaching him the first 8 weeks. 243 pass attempts, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumbles, 0 lost fumbles. Last 2 weeks, 76 pass attempts, 4 interceptions, 6 fumbles, 3 of them lost. He has put the ball on the ground or the other team caught it 10 times, turning it over 7 times in his last 76 attempts / dropbacks.
You get in his dome,
yeah,
and you will win in the dome.
Yeah,
but the game's in Arrowhead, not
no.
Indy.
See,
it would have been a much better.
Can they get it built in Kansas by the time the game's
Can they get it built in time for that dumb saying to work?
That'd be great, man.
But yes, you got to get in. If you fluster Daniel Jones, he will revert back to New York Giants Daniel Jones.
Indiana Jones will go to Chester Copperpot.
It's like you got to chase him with the big ball, the big rock boulder thing that chases Indiana Jones. That's Chris Jones. If Chris Jones can be the big ball of rock chasing Daniel Jones, it's going to flatten Daniel Jones.
Right.
But
here's the thing. Indiana Jones never fell for that. He always got out of that. Chester Copperpot got smushed by the huge rock sort of rectangle. Facing looking shaped rock that killed Chester Copperpot.
Yeah,
fair. In the Goonies, Michael had no idea what I was talking about. The Goonies, Chester Copperpot never made it that far. Goonies never say die. Turn Indiana Jones into Chester Copperpot. Damn it. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us.
Hey.
He is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, a bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. Looking forward to Everett's birthday party this Saturday at Advent Health Sports. What's that?
Sounds about right. Saying that for months.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Dang.
We're so excited. See, we did the arcade, laser tag, and bowling birthday party. This one is just going to be an arcade and ice skating birthday party. So pumped.
It's for his birthday, but the kids aren't invited.
No. It's just
for
me.
adults only.
Everett's
just me.
21 now, by the way, for all the birthday parties he's had this fall.
Yes, he wanted Cutwater for his birthday, so
Good
he's
for
21.
him. Nailed him, crushing him.
I'll teach him.
I bet you will.
Teach him the ways.
I have no doubt about. Boy, he's going to sleep good Saturday night. Why is the whole world spinning?
Do people still do the bourbon on the gums for toothaches? Is that still a thing?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think they don't put leeches on you to get rid of that infection either. So
They don't do that or bleed you when you have
they
like.
don't bleed you out.
I'm
I don't
light.
think they have iron lungs anymore either.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They did in Big Lebowski.
They did.
He was in an iron lung. And that's also what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
That's exactly right. This is what happens when you find a stranger in the
That was the
Alps.
clean version of the...
It's the TNT,
that was
the TBS version
that's
of
I was like, that's such a good...
the younger kid.
Smash in the car.
Find a
You
stranger in the
see
Alps.
Donnie? What was it? It wasn't Donnie. Donnie was Steve Buscemi, a.k.a.
Donnie was out of his element.
That was Jason Anderson's doppelganger.
I get the joke. Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us. Patrick Mahomes says a game like this, it's like a big divisional game or a playoff game. You put in the extra work, the extra time. So I'm glad that they're doing that this week. They didn't do it last week in the bye week. No extra time for that.
They might have. I mean, you can have a sense of urgency, put in the extra work, and still lose, right?
Nope, they didn't do that. The way they played, can't imagine there was extra work.
It's a Hollywood movie. It's only the team that tries hard wins.
That's right.
If you believe, you win.
They literally have that sign above Ted Lasso's
crooked and all that.
Crooked.
Yeah.
That's the issue. The sign was too straight. You have to have a little crookedness to it.
Right, and he's from Kansas City, and the Chiefs play in Kansas City, and the game is against the Colts in Kansas City. It all comes full circle.
These are just words they're saying.
Well,
last week and this week.
Whether you believe you can or
Well,
you can't, you're right.
I guess, and this is the sucky part about having a 500 team barreling into Thanksgiving. We read into like Wednesday words and like, oh, you're saying this week. It means they're gonna do better this week. When normally they're 8-2 right now, and you're like, that's fine. Everything's fine.
The last time they had a bad game where they said, got to clean things up, you know, just got to clean things up.
every game.
They came back and did not have a penalty against the Lions after that 13-penalty game against
What's
the Jags.
the crew this week? That's
So,
going to be the
that's a
deal.
good point. Yeah, I
Who
know.
was the Lions crew? I can't remember, but I loved them.
I don't know.
I can picture the white hat.
But I can
know his name.
I can tell you, whoever it is, the Chiefs have a winning record when he officiates games, and people are going to say that's the conspiracy.
That is it.
Is because the
Because
Chiefs
have a winning record with nearly
Nope,
every.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
single-
There are only a few referees that have officiated games for the Chiefs that have a winning record. Which, by the way, as a quick aside, with the Chiefs being 5-5, if I'm an NFL owner, I'm firing Roger Goodell immediately. I'm firing him because for the last however many years, they have been making such great profit on making sure the Chiefs win. It's all for profit. And they have been making so much money, the NFL has, by the Chiefs winning.
And now he's
that
arranged
Roger
it to
Goodell
where they're 5-5.
that Roger Goodell decided not to make the profit this year. I'm firing him. That's just a dumb commissioner. You have to fire him to decide in the offseason, let's stop making money on the Chiefs. Let's stop doing that. It has been so profitable. We need to stop.
I'd be pissed if I was Robert Kraft.
Right?
I got a good team now.
Yeah.
It's on us. We get a win now. No, there's more money with Taylor Swift.
So much more money with Taylor Swift. I mean, come on, Giselle ain't around anymore.
They're
All right?
rigging it now for the Panthers and the Bears.
Colts, everybody,
Colts.
yeah.
Broncos. Are you kidding me? All the, I mean,
Somehow the New York teams are like, what about us?
Right.
No,
Never. Famous girlfriend of Nick Benito. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's got to be somebody there that there's a reason why they're using those teams to be very profitable this year as opposed to the last 5 or 6 years of the Chiefs.
Can you imagine if the Bills would have beaten the Chiefs, the script would have been flipped, and there's no Taylor Swift. It would have been a Haley Steinfeld conspiracy.
God, it's all about Haley Steinfeld.
It's all about Pitch Perfect. They're wanting to make Pitch Perfect 4.
Pitch Perfect.
And that's what idiots would
I
be
didn't know
saying.
there's 3.
There are 3.
I didn't know there were.
You don't
well, I
need
knew
to
there were
see
2.
the third.
Yeah, I knew there were 2. Actually,
I think there's a
It's like
third.
Godfather.
Yeah,
you could just skip over.
Well,
many people say Pitch Perfect and Godfather
1 is better than 2.
Oh,
unlike
okay.
Godfather, which Godfather 2 is the best one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've only seen 3. I've started backwards.
That's-
So do I go 3, 2, 1 or
Yes, you
3,
do.
1,
Yeah.
2?
After the third one, you go, I don't get it. I don't understand what the hype is about. I'm done. I'm out. I saw Godfather 1. It was number 3. I go Star
Why
Wars
did
about
like
these
Star
things.
Wars? It was
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 is actually 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
They're going to make 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
coming
Star
up.
Wars, I just don't get. I'm sorry, I'll never understand it. It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. In
Well,
a
it's in
galaxy
space.
far, far away, it's
Yeah.
somehow
They speak
in the
English?
future, but also a long, long time ago. They speak English for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, some do. Not all of them.
Yeah, not that bar with all the
That bar,
crazy
there's
creatures. There's so many different
the
languages.
fun
Okay, now
music-
that bar does look fun, though. I'll give the Star Wars that.
Yeah, fun music and a lot of different languages. So
get
it's a melting pot.
Get Soren going on this. He doesn't like when people pick apart Star Wars, like how there's sound in space, like when they shoot.
Yeah, that's true.
There
How-
should be
pew,
sound in
pew,
space.
pew, pew,
And then every time they land or get stranded on a planet, they're less than a mile away from where they need to be.
That's true.
On an entire planet.
Well, that
helps.
That makes sense.
That is true.
Yeah.
You're always close somehow. The
Well,
good navigators.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, same thing. It's like
Well, I also don't get Game of Thrones.
we're gonna-
I don't get many
We're
of
gonna go
these
ride this horse
shows.
that's 500 miles away. Got there the next day.
No, they
It's a
take
hell of
a
ride.
month to get there, but those ravens, they can get there
That's
quick.
true. Well,
right?
as the crow
birds,
flies.
yes.
As
Most of
they say,
these
as the raven flies.
shows, I just don't understand. I will not get it. I don't get it.
Read your books.
Yeah, the book explains it better.
Well, the book makes sense.
Goes into more detail.
Although I don't think there's the Star Wars book.
There's not.
Should be, though. Book was better. I can tell you that much. No, I don't know if the book was better or not. Mick Schaefer, our guest here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. KU lost last night, but I feel like my takeaway was a little bit like Bill Self's in that not really overly discouraged for KU. They didn't have Darren Peterson. There are no moral victories for a KU team. Okay, that's out the window. No moral victories whatsoever. But I thought they had to find answers with Peterson not playing. I'm not saying they found answers, but Trey White stepped up and took on responsibility. Flory played well when he wasn't in foul trouble.
Melvin Council played well.
Council got downhill. You see how fast he is. Like there are things you see from that you go, okay, you put Darren Peterson in that mix, and you can see why they would be a top 15, top 10 team, 3 or 4 seed, top 3 or 4 seed, 1, 2, 3, whatever that they end up getting. They need Peterson to be playing a lot for them to get that higher
That's
seed.
the whole deal. When's it going to happen?
I didn't come away from that game going, oh, KU is screwed. I came away with that game going, I'm not really sure about Duke overall. And we'll see when Darren Peterson gets back what KU ultimately looks like.
I mean, but what they were better for the first 10 minutes. They were even for the first 15. Duke made a run in the first half, kind of a run to begin the second half. But then the next 10 minutes or so, KU was kind of chipping away. They got it down to 3 and then just didn't have enough at the end, and Duke pulls away. Yeah, I wasn't disappointed. The biggest thing is Peterson and when he's going to play, and that's what stinks a lot of times about these one-and-dones is that their career is so short, and any little setback is a huge chunk of their career at KU. And I feel like a lot of times there's this sense of urgency to get guys back, whether it's from injury or maybe a suspension or something like that, to where it is a sprint for their career. And if the littlest thing doesn't go right, then all of a sudden it can derail a season. Whereas if you have a guy for 3 or 4 years, okay, there's a process here. You can be patient, wait for him to get better. Now, Peterson has to be good and really needs to be out there for this team to be a top 2 or 3 seed.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. was more of a rumor than an actuality.
Same deal.
Darren Porter Jr. now.
Is that the Porter? No,
I'm combining him as Darren
Michael
Porter
Peterson Jr.
Yeah. Michael Peterson Jr.
I like it. Yeah.
Michael Peterson II.
There we go. Yeah, that's
But
absolutely right.
it's so hard for these one-and-dones to come in and have a special season because it's so short and anything can happen. A lot of times with injury, but a lot of times with learning the game, and it feels like Peterson is there, can be one of the best players in basketball. He's just got to get on the floor.
Duke KU'd KU. And the final 6 minutes of the first half, when Badunga picked up his fourth foul, KU was up 26-20.
He got the fourth in the first half?
Excuse me, his second foul.
Yeah,
My apologies. When he picked up his second foul and went to the bench. When he picked up his second foul, with 6 minutes to go, KU was up 26-20. Duke ended on a 21-7 run. Melvin Council hits the three to pull within 67-64 with 5 minutes to go. Duke ended on an 11-2 run.
Yeah.
That's 11 minutes they were plus 23. The other 29 minutes KU was plus 11. KU has those spurts where they just knock you out because this 5 minutes was so good you couldn't overcome that 32-9 run in those 11 minutes. It's toast. It's over. And you played good basketball. You played better than them for 29 minutes, but it doesn't matter because those spurts were good enough to KO you. And that's what Duke did last night. And KU didn't have enough. And it wasn't necessarily like the 21-7 run. The 21 is not great in 6 minutes, but the 7 is terrible because now you're pacing for 40 points in a game.
Yeah.
So if it's 21-14, okay, a little more palatable. If it's 11-6 instead of an 11-2 run, a little bit easier to survive. Obviously, that's the last 5 minutes. You didn't survive that because you lost by 12. But point being, those runs that teams go on, KU couldn't score to match what Duke was doing offensively because they don't have it right now, especially with Flory on the bench in the first half.
Yeah. No, and I mean, shots were harder for KU. They were making them. That's what was keeping them in games. I was impressed by Duke, just the way they move the ball. They seemingly have every piece. I mean, Cameron Boozer is the real deal, a guy that can step outside and play. He just sees the court so well. He said that outlet pass he had for a dunk to Evans in the first half, that was awesome. And then
Wes Unseld.
Then they have the shooters, too. I mean, Evans lights out. I mean,
I will say, though, I think Duke could have – they missed a lot of open threes in the corner. That three-point look in the corner, they had almost any time they wanted it. I think it was Sarr who kept missing that one. It felt like they had about 4 or 5 open corner threes.
Yeah.
I don't think they hit a single one. They had good action
the
on
one
that.
they had was defended, and that kind of sealed the games. When KU cut it to 3, it was Evans in the corner with about 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left, or whatever, and he at the end of the buzzer, into the shot clock, and buries it. Right?
Yeah, the shot clock one, I think Bill Self talked about. He mentioned 2 plays. I can't remember which 2 they were, but it was one of them and then the end of the shot clock were the 2 plays that were like, yeah, you can't overcome those things.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if you take a step back and big picture it, I mean, for most teams, KU's resume so far is good, but I mean, it's KU and it's different. And this time last year, we forget how quickly things have slid downhill. KU was the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah.
They were 7-0 going early December game, going to play Creighton, and Creighton kind of thumped them, and then Mizzou beat them, and it's been kind of like downhill ever since.
When they played Missouri, I believe they were still technically the number 1 team in the nation, right? Because
they might have been that same
because
week
it was the same
Wednesday,
week.
Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was the same week because I remember. I think technically they were the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah, Missouri beat the number 1 team in the nation that day.
Yeah.
They were 7-0, got beat by Creighton by 13, 7-1, and then 3 days later played Mizzou, or whatever, Wednesday to Sunday. Played Mizzou and lost that game. But, yeah, they knocked off Michigan State. They knocked off Duke. So – and we'll see what happens next week in Vegas with the 72 teams that are there in the tournament in Vegas. Roughly, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. There's 18.
Was it that Tony's Chocolate Tournament again? Or is it different? That's what it was last year, I think,
No,
when they beat Duke.
This thing is fascinating, and it's the field for this tournament is only going to grow and grow because there's 18 teams. And you play the first 2 games. You have no idea who you play the third game because it's based on record and point differential. Wow. And then they seed it, and the team that's 2-0 with the highest point differential will play the other team, another team that's 2-0 with the highest point differential for the championship.
So you just pair them off and
third and fourth,
third,
and then
fifth,
on
seventh,
down.
ninth,
So you're going to play 3 games, but also this one's a little bit different. That the tournament has a sliding scale of NIL money given to the tournament attendees. So you win it, you get a bunch of NIL money from the tournament. Finishing second,
Does
third,
Eli Drinkwitz
fourth.
know that? Can he get a quick team together from the football team?
Lane Kiffin and James Franklin and Eli are going to come together.
Eli's actually talking to Fortune 500 companies in Vegas.
Yes, that's right.
About that to try to get that NIL money in Vegas to get to Missouri.
I didn't know that rule, by the way. If you're a Fortune 500 company and you donate NIL, it automatically gets passed through.
Yeah, because you've
What
got
is this
you've
world
got
we
your
live
board
in
of
now?
trustees
I
to
guess-
answer to.
Yeah.
Well, if a Fortune 500 company's doing it, it's on the up and
It's
up.
fine.
They
We're not
they
gonna
they don't
investigate.
cheat the system ever.
What
It's
what
never
big
been
companies have ever cheated the system, cooked the books? That's never happened.
There's never been a Fortune 500 company
can't
that
think
went
of
outside.
a single one.
No.
Like Enron?
No,
No,
nope, shut
no.
up. That didn't even count.
That's a fake name.
Yeah, that doesn't even count.
But as real as Star Wars.
Yes. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Without Darren Peterson, they may be 0-2. I mean, they may be 1-1, and it sucks from that standpoint because you're in this tournament because it does help. You get more, like they just give you more NIL. You don't have to worry about fundraising, boosters. You don't have to worry about rev share with your team. It's you win it. Here's some NIL money for
other
you.
thing, too,
and I
is-
think that field's going to continue to grow because of that.
Once that hammy heals up, you have the cramping issues too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how much they're connected or
Yeah,
not.
what chicken or the egg, right?
Right? Feels like they could be, but if that's two separate deals, you still all of a sudden have to, counter the thing of like he wasn't able to play full games when he was playing.
Yeah. So when he comes, the thing about what's going on now is when he comes back, it's going to have to be like 4 or 5 games in a row before you feel like, okay, he's going to.
You got to come out and
stay
play
on the court.
36 minutes. No,
Yeah,
it'd be more like 26.
But I mean, he plays one game, you're not going to go, okay, he's going to be good for the next game. And if he plays the next game, you're not going to go, oh, back-to-back games, he's good. Because of what's happened so far early on, all we've known is leaving games because of cramps and hamstring so far. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
The Run.
What did you say? Respect.
The Run.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
They're not going to. They're not going to do that.
They are not going
You
to
got to
do
make
that.
the Colts respect the run. The Broncos did not, and Sterling is trying to make it known to Colts Nation. Hey, Lou Anarumo, this team's going to run the ball.
You got to respect it. You got to respect the run.
Okay, sure.
Do you like
They're
that
gonna run
version
the
of it?
ball.
You couldn't even tell that it was not the real one, could you?
Even though you stopped the music completely, I couldn't tell. That
Well,
that was you.
I figured
That was to make it
obvious.
Oh,
well, no, that was to make it like
The
a real
Run.
The Run.
The Run.
The blessing. All right. Speaking of that, we'll do one quick round of tomatoes that are rotten. And Darcy, do you want to go last, or do you want to go? He said yes, he wanted to go last because I told him that we probably wouldn't do it, and now I'm surprising him because I want him to lose, so he couldn't prepare for it. So we're going to do one round of Rotten Tomatoes. Since he's going last, that means Mick has to go first.
Let's go.
Mick, you're up
I
one
heard
round.
you mention this movie earlier.
Nope.
Daniel Jones' nickname has to be Indiana Jones at
It
this
is.
point, right?
It is. Yep,
okay.
it is.
I hadn't
It
heard
is
that.
Indiana Jones.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yep.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is going to be the movie. Dr. Jones, the first one. This is the first one.
You could have saved that one for the Raiders.
1981. Dang, I should have.
That's okay.
I could have saved it for when the Raiders play the Colts.
Oh, that would have been great. Yes. I'm going to say that is an 87%.
90%.
84%.
94%.
Oh, my goodness.
Sterling takes it.
Dang it, I hate him.
No, you don't.
No, Indiana Jones, not you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No, I'm just joking. It's you.
I love
I'm just
Indiana
joking.
Jones.
It's you that I hate.
All right, popcorn meter.
You believed me.
Do.
We'll stick with 94%. Run it back.
88%.
85.
96%.
Damn it.
Everybody loved that movie.
Everybody
doesn't?
really liked that
Everybody.
movie. Yeah, everybody loving that movie. All right, so this is along the same lines as the theme of Mick Schaefer when I said that the Chiefs need to turn Indiana Jones into Chester Copperpot. The Goonies. When two brothers find out they might lose their house, they are desperate to find a way to keep their home. They find a treasure map and bring some friends along to find it. They are all out looking
It's
for
our
the...
time. It's our time now.
It's our time down
No
here.
pediment. No pediment. No right. No sign.
No sign.
No
No,
right.
no
pediment.
sign.
No pediment.
No sign. We're not signing now or tomorrow or ever. They're all out looking for the X and trying to get away from a group of bad guys who also want the treasure.
We established that movie happened the same day as Back to the Future.
That's oh, that's right. Yes,
That was your learned one time.
It was.
Yes, that's right. It is
Like a month ago.
It is the Goonies and the Fratelli brothers. Sterling, what did the critics think of the Goonies?
I think they liked it. Don't know if they loved it. I will go 84%.
I'll say 87.
Do I do it?
I don't know. Do you?
I do it. 90.
77%.
Oh,
Sterling.
man.
Sterling is 3 for 3 in movies he's never watched before.
I saw the Indiana Jones.
Sure you did.
I've not seen the Goonies.
I feel like he's 20 for 20 in movies he's never watched
That's
before.
true.
I'm way better. If I've seen the movie, typically I'm worse.
Michael, what did the critics or the fans think of the Goonies? But was it a cult classic?
Well, it is.
I know. It definitely
91.
is. Oh, ding, 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 ding. 91%.
Wow. Needed that.
Michael.
Wow.
Was that exact? 91?
91%.
Wow.
91%. It's now 3-2, right back in the game for
That
Michael. Because he's only
was huge. Baby.
Sterling, you're up.
I also did Indiana Jones, but I did something different.
Oh, thank God.
Temple of Doom.
I did Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
The worst one?
Always
This
doing the
one.
stupid
What
stuff,
is
man.
wrong with you?
Always
not
doing
seen
Is
the-
that the most recent one?
Yeah, I've not seen
Oh, my
this
God,
one.
when he's
Mick,
80?
Mick, Sterling, you chose poorly.
Yeah, he's about 80. This came out in 2023.
Yeah.
It was somehow 2 hours and 24 minutes
This
long.
was Shia LaBeouf.
This one is. I don't think Shia LaBeouf is in this one.
Okay.
But this one is about daredevil archaeologist Indiana Jones. He races against time to retrieve a legendary dial that could change the course of history. Accompanied by his goddaughter, he finds himself squaring off against Jürgen Voller,
Yeah.
a former Nazi who works.
they're Nazis
for,
in the Indiana Jones?
For
wow.
NASA.
They're still
What are
going.
the odds?
For NASA.
Still around.
Not NASA, NASA.
Still around. Is it Hydra? What did the critics think of Indiana Jones and the worst one?
I've never heard of this movie. 58.
I haven't either, honestly. I didn't know this one came out.
61. Where are you going to go?
41 is the mic.
71%.
Dang it.
Oh.
Shockingly, the critics liked the Dial of
Shut out
Destiny,
here.
but was it a cult
I
classic?
don't think so.
Heck
I'm
no,
going
Mick.
65.
41 is the mic.
68.
Hoover's high. You barely got it.
Gosh, darn it.
87%.
Wow.
The,
Dang.
the fans loved the Dial of Destiny, so I don't know what you guys are talking about saying it's the worst one.
I don't know that I've seen it, so I don't know if it's the worst one
I
or
saw
not.
it. He could barely move, and it was obvious like he was doing none of his stunts. He's 80.
His stunts were him walking.
Yes, exactly.
3 to 1.
Did he have
He had the whip. He had the hat. He had
Well,
everything.
no, he had a whip, but he also had one of those like little rollers with the tennis balls on the bottom of them.
They did the callback thing where he pulls out the gun when the guy has the sword, but it's now backfiring on him, and like 10 other guys had guns. And he dips below the table as they try to shoot him. Yeah.
All right.
3 to 3 to 1.
3 to 1. Mick Schaefer's got 1. Sterling's got 3, and Michael's got 3.
That's it,
Michael,
Michael.
you can't get any points here, but
better
what do you
hold
got?
off,
Do you have an Indiana Jones one?
It's not Indiana Jones. My theme was actually the Chiefs' running game and Andy Reid's unwillingness to run the
Okay.
football and how he's kind of scared to do it.
He is, yep.
So my movie's Chicken Run.
Chicken Run, okay. Do we know what this is about?
Is it
when
like
was
Chicken
released?
Little?
This
Or
is the animated like claymation movie.
Yes.
Oh yeah, great movie actually. I like this movie.
2015?
2000.
It's like a Wallace
2000,
and,
right? Right around 2000?
Wallace and Gromit type.
Yeah,
look.
yeah. I remember this as a kid. I haven't seen it
Yeah.
probably since I was like 9. Weird. You know when you
Right,
haven't
okay.
seen something, you're like, I forgot about that movie. Yeah,
I do know.
Okay.
that.
All right.
I'm having like
there
that
you go.
deja vu.
Chicken Run
all over again.
Oh God, 50%. I don't know.
73.
I think higher than that. I'll go 78.
97%.
Dang it.
97%.
Sterling
Yeah,
beat you, Michael. You could have
What are you
lied.
doing?
Coulda
Well, I
lied.
honestly thought it was gonna be like in the 90s, but there was no reason for me to do that. With
Okay, 93.
89.
86.
65.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
he's
Really?
65,
Give me
barely.
1.
Got him.
Wait, was it 25%? Yeah, you were
4
at
to
25%.
3. It was 24, 23, 20 something. 4 to 3 to 2. Nice job. Me, I won. I got 4
Sterling,
points.
I have
How about that?
so many people to thank. First off, I want to thank
Our sponsors. And you know what we love about the Goonies is that, John Matuzak playing Sloth, and that was the original transfer portal guy. Like, he played for 3 colleges, Matuzak did.
That's how his face got all messed
So
up.
that's right, yes.
You get in the portal, you zoom from Columbia to Louisville or whatever. I mean, it's tough.
Iowa Central, Missouri, and Tampa. That last one, the College of Tampa.
Tampa?
Yes, he did not play for the
That's still a thing?
Tampa Bay Bucks, but played for Tampa. And then the Chiefs
So
for a year.
he went JUCO, major college,
Tampa.
small college.
Yes. To
the Chiefs?
Top pick.
He was a top pick?
Yeah, 1900 and year of our Lord, 73. Yeah.
Then he got into
John
acting.
Matuzak, Burt Jones, Jerry Sizemore, John Hanna, Dave Butts. So there you go. The Chiefs get ready for the Colts. We've got Hawk Talk with Lance Leipold coming up tonight at 6 o'clock in a crucial game for KU as they head to Iowa State. Mizzou getting ready for Oklahoma, while Eli Drinkwitz is wanting Fortune 500 companies to invest in the program, which, I'm fine with. Like, I think we have seen the difference in the recruiting for Mizzou in the state pre and post sort of wild, wild west NIL, where it went from, okay, you need to have an actual business that's giving you money to then, here's money, just take it, come here, here's the deal for you. And when Eli Drinkwitz was talking about the players in Missouri that are not going to Missouri, that, well, we need to have a package that would match those other teams. And I'm glad that he said, well, I got to do a better job recruiting too. Well, thank you. I think that's part of it. They've been good in the transfer portal, but his first 3 years, like 2020 was his first year, so I'm not going to count the 2022 recruiting class, but 21, 22, and 23, before it got sort of crazy with NIL, those first 3 years, the state of Missouri had 44 4- and 5-star players, and they end up getting 24. They end up getting 10 of the 24. 4- and 5-star kids. I mean,
so the state of Missouri had 24.
State of Missouri had 24 in those 3 years.
Mizzou got 10.
Mizzou got 10 of the
Is
24.
that high school rule still the legislature when they passed that you can make NIL money?
It was
as a high schooler.
It was a little after
Is that still going?
It was a little after
That's
that.
still going, right?
Right, but this was before it got like, all right, so now you can just pay whatever. 24, 25, and 26 recruiting class, there are 24 and 5-star kids. So far they have 3. They got 1 in 24, 2 in 25. They could have another one with Rocco for the 2026 class. That would make them 4 of 20. But they went from getting 42% of the 4- and 5-star kids in the state to getting 15%. And those kids are going to Texas, Michigan, Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama, Notre Dame, Oregon, Nebraska, Mosey, Miami, Nick's offensive lineman,
Cantwell,
Michigan, Indiana.
Michigan was the sprayed kid out of Rockhurst.
Oklahoma, James Madison. I mean, who the hell's going? I'm just
Rock. Okay,
who's
for
going
now,
to
for
James?
now,
Right
for now.
And so those are the teams that are coming in and paying them. And if you're just looking at top 10 players, 4 or 5-star kids, 3 stars, whatever, top 10 in the state. Before 2024, Mizzou got 12 of the 30, which is 40%. And since then, they've gotten 6 of 30.
A couple things on that. I think 2 things factor into that.
So literally half.
One, the portal is so much more now, right?
There's a lot more focus on the portal and
You're
stuff.
recruiting high school guys less. 2, you're maxing out your roster at 105, right? There's no room for 135, 140 kids on the team. A lot of PWOs. I don't even know if schools do PWOs anymore. If they give you're getting money all the way up to 105. So those 2 things work in against him. But yeah, it's okay. You winning games is the
teams
the
with more
biggest
money
question.
are coming into St. Louis and around the state and taking the top recruits.
Yeah.
Now they've gotten some of those back. Kevin Coleman was the number 1 recruit in the state in 2022, and he went to Jacksonville State with Dion. But now he's at Mizzou in his 3rd school. So they've gotten a couple of those back. And in the transfer portal, like you've talked about, the last 2 years, they've got 4 transfer portal kids out of the top 40 in the last 2 years while only losing 1. And that was Williams Winara.
Yeah.
So they're +3 in top 40 transfers overall, including Damon Wilson from Georgia. That was the number 2 or 3 transfer player, and he's a potential first-round draft pick this next year. So they got him and Kevin Coleman and Porter.
Caden Green, right?
Caden Green, yep, Caden Green. Those are the four.
Oklahoma.
So Pride, Toriano Pride, Wilson, Green, and Coleman are the four, and only losing Williams one.
But I would say two. I mean, if that number does drop, it doesn't mean your talent's going to drop. It's not like Missouri is Texas or Florida or Georgia or something like that as far as producing talent. So maybe in this whole process of Missouri becoming a bigger brand nationwide, that they're getting it indoors down south that they wouldn't normally get in.
Yeah, in 22 and 23, he got 8 of the 19 4- and 5-star kids in those 2 recruiting classes. 8 of the 19.
And look,
and he's gotten 3 cents.
Money's going to trump proximity,
right? I know, and that's the point.
It's going to trump proximity.
And it's what I felt like when I've talked about that. I think Missouri has a chance of growing into being a more established, consistent program. When it's like, okay, what are the pros and cons of Missouri, the only state school? But looking at some of the other states and regions, like there's a lot of talent that comes out of Missouri. They're just going a lot of different places, as in every single state. But the recruiting ground is there. And one of the things that Gary Pinkel did was he did do a pretty good job of closing the borders, as he talked about. But it's hard to close the border when somebody's saying, here's $2 million, they're offering you one. Oh, and by the way, come to Bama. Come to Jeremiah Love would have been a really nice player from St. Louis to go to Mizzou. Running back hasn't been an issue for Mizzou, but Jeremiah Love's a pretty damn good player. And hey, Notre Dame, here's some money, come to Notre Dame. Hey, come to Missouri, here's less money. Oh, okay, I think I'll go to Notre Dame.
Hardy's only competition for the Doak Walker.
Right. Love and Hardy on the same team.
I'm just a little surprised. I thought that the freshman recruiting trail would tamper down, but I didn't think it would still be the big-name schools, because I think a lot of the big-name schools are focusing more on NIL and the transfer portal. They're focused on saying, hey, I don't necessarily want a freshman to go to Ohio State. I want to get the best players in the transfer portal. I want the juniors and seniors because we want to win now. We're not focusing anymore on development quite as much. Not saying you want a finished product, but you want someone who's a little older and more mature.
You want someone who's going to stay there is the deal. They're thinking, okay, why spend years on this high school kid?
Right.
Get him to commit. And 6 months after he steps on campus, he's portaling out to a rival because he didn't play.
Or portaling back to his hometown, and we got him out of Missouri, and now he's going to Missouri 2 years later.
Somebody's offering more money. There's a million reasons now why you can't hold on to him. Why? And I've talked to some coaches about this. Like, the portal at the very least is guys are more no nonsense, right? It's just like, here's what I want, here's this, as opposed to the high school kids who takes some more convincing. You're recruiting against a lot more schools, and you're putting a lot of time and effort in. Can't keep them.
Let me get that tractor and $10,000 in a gym bag.
And so that's why I'm so surprised that you're still seeing the big-name schools go to Miami and Oklahoma and Michigan. Like, I thought you were going to see a lot of these freshmen start
Texas,
going to
Bama, Georgia.
The next tier down, to the Missouris, to the K-States, to the Kansases, to the South Carolinas and Auburns. That's what I would have thought they should spend their time on for those schools.
And I would say, like, look, Missouri's talented. So, I mean, Eli's bringing the players in. So what they're doing, they don't have the highest budget, and he mentioned that. He's like, look, we're not in the top 10. Whatever the list of top 10 that came out, they only did the top 10. I would have liked them to continue. If you got the top 10, go to the top 50, 100, whatever. And he said, we're pretty frugal, but I do think they've made pretty good decisions on the players that they've given money to, So that's
unless they lose this week, then blow it all up.
Then fire them, right?